I've got Phonetic. The rosters have been brilliant. The New York roster has got everything you could want on it. Little bits of information about each player, who they're sponsored by, everything. And Phonetic's on both. Yeah, the Phonetics are a little more interesting on the Finnish one, but just might keep going. Number 11 with the ball. Yeah. I can.
There's probably a lot more money in the game that side of the pond than ours.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Right, we're about on the. Are we in shot all right? Me? Just this way a little bit. We're good? The University of Birmingham hosts this unique event this afternoon, the PROCLOUD Trophy, the Transatlantic PROCLOUD Trophy here from Birmingham between the host Birmingham Lions, the visiting New York Sharks and the visiting Helsinki Wolverines. Should be a fantastic weekend of women's American football here in the Midlands. I'm joined on screen there by Andrew Morgan.
Good evening,
Andrew.
Good evening.
George will be joining us shortly, our normal presenter. He's currently stuck in traffic on the way over from Nottingham, but nevertheless, so thank you for stepping in.
Not a problem.
This event then, this PROCLOUD tournament, what does it mean for the women's game?
I mean, if you look at where the women's game was 3-4 years ago when they were doing regional combines, getting people together just to play games, play 11 aside, and you see where the women's game's gone, the Great Britain stuff, how successful they've been there, and now to get to a point where international teams are being invited over, it's just fantastic for the game. It can only keep growing from here.
Birmingham, obviously, the whole Birmingham outfit, if you like, from the youth, the junior, obviously the men's, and now the women's. It really is a sort of pioneer for the game, and I think this event this weekend is testament to the work that Wayne Hill and the people around Birmingham have done.
Well, that's it. I know that the Birmingham Lions Women's Committee, what they wanted to do was what else is out there in terms of competition. Obviously, they made links through the GB stuff as well, and they've been able to get these teams over to enhance the competition of the women so that they continue playing, they continue their growth in the game.
And so we see this triangular tournament this weekend between Helsinki, between New York and the hometown Lions. This afternoon, the first matchup, which kicks off in just under half an hour's time here, is between the Helsinki Wolverines, who will be the home team, taking on the New York Sharks. Should be a good matchup. Don't know too much about these teams.
No, absolutely not. All I've been able to do is really watch the New York team in their warm-ups, in their pre-game, and they've got some fantastic athletes. Their QB has got a great arm. They've got some really good athletes at wide receiver as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what's put on show for sure.
We, as usual, caught up with all the coaches before the game, and we're going to bring the interview that we took with head coach of the Lions to begin with. Not necessarily about his aspirations for the Lions' success this weekend, but basically about this tournament, how it came about, and a little bit of background onto it. So I'm joined by head coach of the Birmingham Lions women, Coach Kilby. Thanks for joining us this evening.
Yeah, my pleasure.
A unique event we're just embarking on tonight.
Most definitely, yes. It's certainly a first of a kind for this country. Obviously, very privileged to have two fabulous football teams here today. So yeah, we're really excited about it.
So the Lions aren't in action until tomorrow, so you get the bonus of watching both the Wolverines and the Sharks tonight.
Yeah.
How did the actual tournament and the idea for the tournament come about, and why the Sharks and the Wolverines particularly?
The idea was kind of like spawned a good few years ago when I tried to get some international club fixtures off the ground about 2.5 years ago. It didn't really come apart. We weren't really truly ready. And then we ventured into Europe, France and Finland previously. And from there, the tournament in Finland, speaking to Jama Leiti at the Roosters, we kind of like concocted this tournament of playing inter-club championships. And from there it grew. We got wind that the Sharks were looking to, cross the pond and come and play some football in Europe, and we sort of grabbed hold of it with both hands. After playing against the Wolverines a year or so before, we naturally invited them back for a rematch, which they dutifully accepted. So.
The women's game in the UK, it seems to be going from strength to strength at the moment, and obviously the Birmingham and the Birmingham outfits at all levels really seem to be front runners in that.
Yeah.
Plans from a Lions perspective in terms of carrying on that development of the women's game?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't stand still, otherwise you end up going backwards. We're going to continue to recruit and build the squad up. Hopefully we'll be looking to have 2 squads going into our domestic season this year, and we're just going to continue to look for more international competition. Now that the IFAF situation's been sorted, it opens up a whole heap of doors. We've already had interest from across the pond again, from other countries in Canada, Mexico and Europe, so loads of opportunities for us to continue playing 11s of football and all around the world. So it's really exciting stuff.
Silly question, I know, but what are the Lions hoping for this weekend?
We want to win. We ain't here to make up the numbers. A lot of these girls, we're used to winning, we're used to success. It's a good thing. The biggest obstacle we have is keeping the girls not complacent, keeping that out of the frame. But we're hoping for a good show. We know we've got 2 very good teams. I mean, the Wolverines are double national champions. Sure. I feel that when we played and beat them last time, I think it's going to be a much tougher game this time around, without a doubt.
And just a little point, obviously the facilities here at the University of Birmingham, second to none. The support they've offered the team over the years has just been phenomenal.
It's been exemplary. Yeah, we've been felt right at home with them since we've been here. Wayne's brought us under his wing and has been fabulous in supporting us as an organisation. So yeah, it's fabulous. So we've got this brand spanking new field to play on.
Beautiful.
So yeah, new facilities for the team just across the way there. So yeah, it's been great.
Well, I'm sure this won't be the last of these sort of events, and I hope that this will spawn very, very similar events, not only in the women's game, but maybe across in the men's game as well in years to come. Thank you ever so much for your time, and we wish you all the best for this weekend.
Thanks very much.
So a really excited Coach Kilby there, obviously, from the international point of view. We'll turn our attention a little bit now to tonight's game. So the Helsinki Wolverines taking on the New York Sharks. We'll talk about Helsinki to begin with. Helsinki currently 2-time national champions in their own division, in their own league. And they come here with a wealth of experience and actually, from speaking to their coach, a wealth of talent as well. Obviously, the Lions know them quite well from playing the Diamond Series against them. A little less known are the New York Sharks, but do you know a great deal about the Wolverines?
No, the only thing that I will say, having been at the that PA is really loud. Having been at the European Championships with the GB men's team and being in Finland, the setup of football over there is it's really, really strong. There was a lot of support from the ladies' teams in the games, particularly the Finnish home games as well. So it's a very popular sport over in Finland.
They started their journey at 2 a.m. this morning over from Finland, and I managed to catch up with their head coach prior to the warm-ups. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by the head coach of the Helsinki Wolverines. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to speak to us this afternoon, and welcome to Birmingham. How's the journey been?
It's been a long day. We started off this morning, and the game here now the trip is weighing on us a bit, but I'm pretty sure that once the adrenaline kicks in, we'll be fine.
So Helsinki Wolverines won't be known to many people in the mainland UK. Tell us a little bit about the Wolverines, a little bit about the history maybe, and how this season's gone particularly for you.
Yeah, in the women's football, we're a relatively young team. We started in 2015, and we merged with one of the Finnish powerhouses, GS Demons. And after that, we've been winning championships pretty much. 2017, and we repeated this year.
Is the Wolverines, are they based around a particular unit, offense, defense, special teams, to get the ball rolling, as it were?
I think we're very balanced. We have a lot of national team players on both sides of the ball. on offense, we like to pass the ball, but we've also been able to run it very well this season. On defense, we have a very solid linebacking core that helps us succeed, and on special teams, we have a very good kicker in Sanni Seppälä, which helps us quite a lot.
So this is a unique event, and the first time Birmingham have hosted an event such as this with a team from America, one from Finland, and obviously the Birmingham Lions themselves. You're quite familiar with the Lions. You told me when we were chatting earlier on. How much do you know about tonight's opponents, the New York Sharks?
Not as much. We've seen game film of them, and we do know that they are one of the oldest teams in the U.S. in women's football, and it's a great honor to play such a team.
Are there any particular players for us to look out for in tonight's matchup?
I'd say you should look at Sanni Seppälä, our wide receiver and kicker, Tytti Kuusinen, our extremely brilliant running back, and on defense, Emmi Järn, our outside linebacker. I think those players will be key in this game. And
finally then, not to take up too much more of your time, as I've said, what are your expectations for the weekend?
Well, we're looking to compete in each game, and we'll see how it works out. Our expectations are to play our best football this season, and let's see how that works out.
Well, once again, thank you ever so much for your time. I know you're a busy man pre-game, so we'll let you get back to your team, and may well be able to catch a word with you afterwards.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. So, a very successful season, a very successful last two seasons for the Helsinki Wolverines, and the results the results that you can see are evident of that. With the standings that we have, you can see it's been very dominant over the course of the campaign. Some of the close games, but some shutouts as well.
Absolutely, and it's the same in any kind of league. You look at the Premiership of British football all the way down, you're going to get the close ones, and you can see that some of the best rivalries are with the Roosters, also in Helsinki as well. So there's a really good rivalry there.
And those results meant the table looked very healthy. Obviously, the Wolverines sat at the top of their division and therefore into the playoffs and won their national championship as well. And they're going to hope to bring some of that form over into this Tri-Nations tournament today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a spectacle not just for the game in Finland, but across Europe as well. I'm thinking that potentially what's going to happen is people are going to see this and see what can be built to in the future as well.
Okay, didn't take me long to get one wrong.
From the Wolverines, we turn our attention to the New York Sharks. New York, first team from the States to cross the Atlantic and to come into UK, and I know their head coach was very proud of the fact that they were pioneers in that respect. Again, not a lot known about women's American football across stateside. Obviously, having a look at their website and seeing footage like that. As you said, watching warm-ups, there does seem to be quite a lot of talent, particularly on the offense.
Yeah, and I think when we were watching the World Championships from the GB ladies last year, when we looked at the Canadian teams, the Mexican teams, you were kind of taken aback with, wow, the standard is really, really impressive. I mean, the GB ladies really did play well in that tournament, but the level over there is very, very high as well.
Helsinki Wolverines.
This, incidentally, is the final time that the New York Sharks will take the field as the New York Sharks. They're going to be rebranding after this season, and the results from this year and the way they finished out their last campaign as the New York Sharks has been very, very positive. Hopefully we can see the results shortly, and you'll just see the fact that the way it's a national tournament, and you think of the States and you think about the travel they have to go through, all levels of the game, it's a real big ask.
Yeah. And linebacker. You look at the players, all the players have their own kind of sponsorship. Their team is sponsored as well. There's an owner who puts a lot of money in. So the structure of the team as well is really, really strong.
Linebacker, Elena Kero.
Results show that they're much closer to the games. There's one decision there against Connecticut where they came off, in fact, the last two games of the season, they came off a little bit worse aware, but still had the record to go into the playoffs and actually win their Division 2 national title. So, as ever, the standings at the end of the New York season looked very much like that. A little bit confusing there with that 6-2 top of the table with the Philadelphia Phantoms at 3-5. But we believe it was against a head-to-head which gave the New York Sharks the benefit of the doubt up there. Apologies about the PA. It's very difficult for us to hear here.
Yeah.
But as ever, we caught up with the head coach of the New York Sharks prior to warm-ups and got her opinions about the trip over to the UK. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Coach Hopkins of the New York Sharks. Thank you ever so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the UK.
Thank you.
How's the trip been from the eastern seaboard?
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been a long journey. You know, we had some interesting things happen on the way over here. You know, those of traveling in a group. But we got here, we did some touristy things in London, and then stopped off at a few places on the way, stopped at a castle, went to Stratford-on-Avon, where Shakespeare grew up.
Yeah.
And then we got out here on Thursday. And it's been fun. Everyone's been super nice. And so we're just really excited to be here.
And it's brilliant to have you. We've been chatting off camera a little bit, talking about the Sharks and about the women's game in the States.
Yep.
Obviously, this side of the pond, people aren't familiar with the New York Sharks, or particularly women's American football in the States.
Right.
So tell us a little bit of history about the Sharks and who the New York Sharks are.
Yeah, so the Sharks have been around for about 20 years. They're the longest-running women's tackle football team. The owner actually bought it as a flag team 20 years ago, and that's Andrew Douglas, and she's been doing it ever since. Our season runs typically from January through the end of July, so we just wrapped up winning the national championship for Division II in our league last month.
And the Sharks, as an outfit, built around a particular unit, offense, defense, special teams? Or?
I think we're pretty well balanced. You know, if I had to choose, I think we have a bit more seasoned veterans on offense. But we're multifaceted, right? I mean, all three elements have to contribute to the game and be firing on all cylinders for you to be successful, right?
The Birmingham Lions, who are hosting the event this weekend, are real front runners in the British women's tackle football game. How did this come about, you guys being involved with the Wolverines and the Lions to be involved with this event?
Yeah, so our owner, Andra, we'd been talking about an international sort of tournament for a couple of years. She reached out, I think, last season and it really didn't materialize. And then this year she was able to get connected up with Joe Kilby, and the whole thing was planned out, and it's been great. I mean, they've been fantastic, very hospitable, and we're just really, really excited that this is, like, I'm still in shock. You know, like we're, you know, in Birmingham about to play American football. It's great.
And as far as the Sharks are concerned this evening, some star players that I'm aware of from doing a little bit of research, but who should we be looking out for from your point of view on the field tonight?
Oh, we have so many weapons, right? I mean, we've got an incredible quarterback. This is her, I want to say, 16th season. You know, she's got 2 gold medals, you know, all around all-star. And then we've got some great receivers out there, you know what I mean? So on the offensive side, I would say the whole squad is a bit of a threat. And defensively as well, you know, you have to make those stops when they're important. So defensively, we're also very strong. Probably
close to your heart as well is that offensive line.
Of course.
Are they the hard workers in the trenches there?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm extremely hard on them, right? They're my baby. I played offensive line for the New York Sharks for, I want to say, 4 or 5 years. I learned a lot from the coaches that I played under, and I'm just all about excellence.
And finally, not to keep you from your team for too long pre-game, I know it's a vital time for you. What are your expectations as far as the Sharks are concerned this weekend?
Well, I fully expect us to win, right? That's why we traveled all this way, you know, but we remain humble. You know, nothing's given to us. We work for everything that we get. You know, our season wasn't easy at all. It was hard fought, our regular season, so we just plan to come out here with that same attitude, a lot of respect for the teams that we're facing, but we're just going to worry about ourselves and do our job. Well,
it's wonderful to have you, and as much as the Lions are pioneers for the women's game over here, I know you guys making the trip across the Atlantic are pioneers for the women's game in the States as well. Yeah. So wish you all the best for the evening, and have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you so much.
So you join us in the middle of the national anthems. We've just heard the Finnish national anthem as they are the home team. So, back in the commentary booth. My thanks to Andrew Morgan for helping me out pre-game there. Now, welcome to the commentary booth. Another former player from Nottingham. And I've completely forgotten your name.
I'm actually a bit hurt by that.
Oh, are you really?
6 years.
Anyway, Tom Henley joins me here in the booth. George Lees is on his way, as I mentioned. But good evening, Tom. Obviously, you're currently a student at the University of Birmingham. Fantastic playing facility you've got here.
Yeah, brilliant. Probably the best in the country, I'd say.
We obviously spoke to a variety of people about this tournament this afternoon and this 3-game international series. Really looking forward to this one between the New York Sharks and the Helsinki Wolverines. And if we're led to believe the thoughts of both head coaches, offences could go to work.
I'm looking forward to it. The New York QB sounds like an absolute baller. Karen Mulligan, 4 years of age, 16 seasons with the Sharks, and most TDs in the game she's ever thrown, 7.
So it should be good, as we've heard the national anthems and the captains now approach the middle of the field for the coin toss. Obviously, head coach of the Birmingham women's team, Jamie Kilby, is in attendance, as are all the Birmingham women's outfit, ready for their first matchup against the Helsinki Wolverines tomorrow. I'll just put a little precursor on. Apologies for any mispronunciations this evening. We will do our best. We've been sent some fantastic information and rosters from the respective teams, so all being well, we should be on point as far as this one goes. What are you looking forward to seeing most? Obviously, you mentioned about Karen Mulligan, and with the women's game over here is not necessarily as high profile as the men's game, but with the Diamond Series and the success of the Birmingham Lions women of recent years, it should be a good precursor for their upcoming season.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Americans bring and see if there is a huge difference in the playing quality. Obviously, our Birmingham Lions women's are very, very, very good. But it'd be interesting to see what they do. Play like stateside, if the style's any different.
The head coach of the New York Sharks, Coach Hopkins, you heard in the pre-game interview, she's very optimistic about the talent among the New York outfit, particularly on offense, and she is former O-line coach for the Sharks and is very proud of the work those guys put in. And obviously, you being a quarterback yourself, Tom, the work of the offensive line sometimes gets overshadowed, but the importance of those group of individuals can't be underestimated.
Oh no, if we're going to have an aerial battle today, you've got to have the ladies up front to block for you, give the time for the quarterback, let the plays develop, give a stable platform just to launch the ball deep.
So it's a beautiful evening here in the Midlands, Birmingham University here on this last evening in August. The New York Sharks will be kicking off, which means we will see quarterback Minna Tiainen for Helsinki, and that's Wolverine offense. So just about to get underway here. So, as ever, these events can't be put on without a lot of help from a variety of people, and this event this weekend is no different. There are a large number of sponsors we'll mention during the game, from Enterprise to Midshire to Ace. We will give them due recognition as the game continues. And I'm glad to be able to say that Tom Henley's brief stint in the booth comes to an end.
That's not very nice.
And
I thought he did quite well.
Hot footing it to the studio is the one and only, the inimitable George Lees. How you doing, George? Out of breath?
Me and Birmingham, we just don't get on.
No, it seems to be the case for people from our neck of the woods for a long time.
Yes, very much.
Anyway, here we go. So the inaugural PROCLOUD Transatlantic Trophy is underway here under the floodlights in Birmingham. The ball bounces, takes a hop, and then is fielded, and it's fielded by number 37. That's Jenny Kilpelien.
Yeah, well covered up there by the special teams unit.
And the kick fielded somewhat tentatively by Jenny Kilpelien.
So we'll see the Wolverines offense first out on around their own 24-yard line. So let's see what this Finland versus the United States is going to serve up for us early doors in the first quarter. Some big athletes on both sides of the ball as they have that familiar spread formation. The ball's going to the air to start with. It's thrown out to the flats, and the pass is completed. It's completed to that number 34. That's Tuti Kusinen.
Yeah, slow pass there, but got the first completion, get those nerves out of the way early.
Always important for a quarterback, like you say, to get that ball out of her hands and make that first completion. So good positive yardage. In fact,
I think they have actually marked her down for a loss of the yard. We just heard our commentator there.
Our commentary
Stadium
position,
announcer, should I say?
Our commentary position isn't the best today, so we're pitch side pretty much, but quite away from the action. As on 2nd and 11. Ball is play action out, and a similar pass. Oh, it's a little floater of a ball, and again that's met by a vicious Sharks defence.
Yeah, it's going to be another loss there on that play. It was a very, very slow release, slow fly ball, and just allowed the defence time to get underneath that.
Fortunately, though, not a loss of any yardage there. A little bit of a slow play action there, not really selling that overly well. Good protection up front, it must be said. But that floated ball, you almost thought I had pick 6 written over it at one stage.
Yeah, very much so. Looking to do a bubble type screen on both sides of the field that time, and not really going anywhere for them.
So Tiainen on 3rd and long, 3rd and 14. They did indeed mark that as a loss, and she rolls round to her right. She pops the ball. It's a beautiful ball out, and it finds a receiver, and that's Sani Sapala. And Sapala picks up positive yardage that time, but it will bring up 4th down.
3 completions, 3 attempts, 3 completions. Not a bad start. Obviously, going backwards for 2 is not great, but at least we know they can hit the target.
So the opening offensive possession for the Wolverines comes to a halt, and actually that looked to be a fake punt they tried to run, which is very brave considering their field position, and the New York offense will take over in fantastic field position for them.
Yeah, giving New York a great field starting spot, and I'm sure they'll look to get scores on early, starting on around about their own 30, I would think. Looking from our low-level position, I think they're going to mark them on. It does look like the 35, you're correct.
So here we go, 1st down, and with that experienced quarterback, Karen Mulligan at the helm, she hands the ball off on 1st down, and it's Wilkerson, and Wilkerson is met again by a very stout defensive front for the Wolverines.
Similar start to from the Wolverines start, 1 yard loss there.
And you can see, again, just the early nerves. Obviously, the transatlantic trip. Most of the Sharks, as you heard earlier, have been over here for a few days doing the touristy bit. Bit of a low snap, that one, and manages to get the ball off.
Yeah, I think I've seen they've been to Warwick Castle and all sorts.
Down to Stratford. Very excited was Coach Hopkins on 2nd down. This time, Mulligan flips the ball out to the right, but that's incomplete. Nervy start from both offences, it must be said.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Similar starts. Both losses on, well, not the second play there that time for the Sharks, but certainly on that first play.
So 3rd and 11 upcoming on this opening possession for the Sharks. I think it must be said that, as we've seen from these first 2 plays, the Wolverines obviously backed their defence in the fact that they went for that 4th down fake.
Yeah, running it there on that play, it's an interesting choice on 3rd down, 3rd and long.
Janae Wilkerson once again. And that will bring up 4th down. And from 33 yards out, it looks like Mulligan and the offense are staying out there for 4th and 9. Let's see if they can be positive in this play, or whether both offenses will end up 3 and out. Trips to the right-hand side.
In 3 down so far, they've only managed to muster 1 yard.
Mulligan drops back to pass. She looks left, looks back over to her right. She's got a receiver over the middle, and the receiver catches the ball, and she streaks down the centre. She's still on her feet at the goal line, and she's in for the opening score of the afternoon. And that's Crystal Molina, receiver for the Sharks.
But that was a little bit out of the blue there.
That trips formation on the right-hand side seemed to pay dividends, and Molina found a slant open, and that seam just opened up for her.
Very much so, and it was a nice read by the quarterback to find that receiver in the open space, hitting it right in stride, and down the field she went.
Nice height. 3 or 4 Wolverines around her, but Melina turns on the jets and she cannot be caught. So our opening score of the afternoon comes on the opening possession for the Sharks as the extra point is up. And it is good, is the signal from our officiating crew. So the Sharks take an early 7-0 lead. So George, a bit of I know I came down early in the day and it took me a good 2 hours and 15 minutes to get down here, and that was...
It only took me 2 hours. Yeah, see, you got to go the right way, but traffic was still pretty interesting.
It's pretty snarled up on that on the motorways with the roadworks going on, but nevertheless, maybe if we'd have used Enterprise, then we might well have been able to secure a faster ride down here.
Perhaps, but that would involve breaking speed limits. And we're not into that, are we?
We're not into that. Enterprise being one of our sponsors today. Not secured a graduate job yet? It's not too late. Send your CV to julia.speed@ehi.com to fast-track your way to an exciting new career for 2018-19. So, the second possession for the Wolverines will shortly take shape. See if they can muster any more positivity on this second position as the sun begins to dip below the buildings here in Birmingham. That's fielded by Martola. Martola is up the middle and she's got a little seam and she evades the Sharks. Special teams get the kicker to beat. Doesn't manage to avoid the kicker, and it's Maggie Natal.
Late flag on the play there as well, so we'll have to see what the officials call. Much better taken from compared to that previous drive.
So Anna Martola with the return. Let's wait the call from the officials. Bit of excitement on both sides though. Here we go. You see the return there. She finds the seam. And the penalty is against the Sharks, so that will be tagged on to the end of that run by Martola.
That's going to tag 15 yards on at the end of the run.
So great starting field position for the second offensive series for the Wolverines. And what do you do, George, when you can see the touchdown? You can strike straight back with a big play of your own, that momentum shifts.
Yeah, just see if this defense is settled or whether they're unprepared for what's about to come. Wolverines last time not making any yards at all.
So as we've said, the calibre on display all weekend here is significant from the women's perspective. Two-time reigning national champions, back-to-back reigning national champions as we stand, are the Helsinki Wolverines. The New York Sharks coming off their Division 2 championship season this year, and obviously we know the calibre of the hometown Birmingham Lions. So first down, this time the ball's pitched to the left, and the halfback does have space, and that halfback once again is Kuusinen.
Yeah, good pick-up and good marker for 8 or 9 yards there, I think. Looks like their running game is far stronger than that passing game that they showed earlier.
Alyssa Blaze on the tackle.
So let's see if they can pick up their first down of the evening. They're inside the 10-yard line already of the Sharks. And if they could get things level again, that would really open this thing up for the rest of the game. So, 2 receivers left, 2 right. That halfback, same play again. Same play again with a similar result. Positive yardage for Kuusinen.
Kuusinen again now on the pitch.
Should be a Wolverine first down.
Really marching downfield this time.
That's going to be 1st and goal.
Obviously that first series, 3 plays, 3 passes. Second series, 2 plays, 2 pitches to the left. So
and that run game really working well. Perhaps they spotted something on the right side of that defense, the left side to that offense.
Coach Lamin Salo is really exploring all possibilities in the early goings. This time the pitch to the right, and it's Kuusinen again who picks up positive yardage.
Defense wrapped that up far better that time than they did on the previous 2 plays.
2nd and goal now, inside the 5. You would think the last 3 plays have all been positive for the Wolverines. They will probably stick with this run. Although, just when you think a team is going to stick with one thing, that's when you can become vulnerable, particularly in this short yardage situation.
Well, they're only 4 yards out, but those 4 yards could be very, very difficult to pick up.
Well, obviously, as you well know, the less field you've got to work with, the easier it is for the defence to defend. In theory, as dropping back to pass and got a receiver in the end zone. Touchdown Wolverines! Jenny Kangas. And there we have it, 3 or 4 run plays, punctuated by that quick slant, and pending the extra point, we are back tied.
Yeah, well found in the middle of that defence there.
Lovely pass that time from Tiainen. Patient. And as you will know, as a quarterback, you've got to have quite a short memory, because basically you're only as good or bad as your last pass. And at the moment, Tiainen is pretty good.
And that extra point brings it to a draw. You said that like I was a quarterback, but we both know that I was never skilled enough to play in that position.
That is very true. There is Tiainen dropping back. She eyes that receiver all the way and wide open, finds a real soft spot at the back of the end zone in that seam, and scores are level.
Yeah, that was poor defense that time, just to allow that in the middle of the defense as well.
We all have skills in a variety of different places, George, and you were very successful as a DB, but no quarterback. Can't be said that. Well, I don't think you ever tried quarterback, did you?
You never allowed me to try quarterback.
That is true. That is true. There was a reason for that, but we won't go into that here. As the Sharks prepare for their second offensive series, and apart from that first drive from the Wolverines, we could be on course for a bit of a shootout.
It would be interesting to see if that does happen. It's a long way to come to put so many points on the board, and that was a clean take that time.
And that's Jenny King who fields the ball and heads upfield over the 30, close to the 35-yard line, where the Sharks will begin once again with veteran Karen Mulligan back in at quarterback. 16 seasons with the Sharks, 13 of those seasons captain. She was a member of the 2010 and 2013 national women's teams, winning gold in both events. She was named the Women's Football American National Conference 2018, this past season, Offensive Player of the Year in Division 2. Holds numerous records, and at 40 years old, still showing the youngsters how this game should be played. Let's see what she can do on this series. Trips to the left this time, the ball is handed off, and that's met immediately, and that's big number 56. That's Elena Sapala, stopping the runner short of any positive yardage.
Yeah, and absolutely nowhere to go. Great defense that time. The pressure came around the edge and she came through the middle and just wrapped that up for quite a big tackle for a loss. I think they marked her back 2 yards there.
Second and 13 now.
So second and 13 upcoming. Similar formation once again. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. That one running back in for Mulligan. She drops back loads of time, drills that ball, and she finds her receiver. And that's Fields. Fields gets good positive yardage past the first down marker into Wolverines territory.
Who breaks the tackle, heads down the sideline.
Yeah, big pass, big gain that time as well.
To move the sticks and bring up a first down.
You see that could have been a loss, but she manages to elude that tackle and picks up good first down yardage. Does Brilliant Fields.
Big solid running back there, and actually I think looking at it from there she got confused slightly by the markings, and she turned around to say, I wasn't out of bounds.
And yeah, we're playing on the black markings here on this multi-use, which is a fantastic playing surface, it must be said, here at the University of Birmingham. Brand new facility here, but it is used for a number of different sports, and not usual for American football players to play on black lineage.
No.
On a black gridiron, so to speak. But anyway, short pickup on that first down once again. That similar handoff up the middle brings up 2nd and 8. Mulligan again with those 2 receivers left, 2 right. That one halfback once again, this time offset to her right. Surveys the Wolverine defense, who up front look very stout. That offensive line, Coach Hopkins will be very proud of the way that offering that pass protection. Pass is completed, and it gets close to first down territory. And that once again is Molina, touchdown scorer in the previous drive.
Yeah, left open in that flat zone there. Nice pickup, breaking one tackle and getting in for that first down there.
Interesting to watch these offensive linesmen. The offensive line unit here, who at the moment, Mulligan has all sorts of time. Run game not being quite so effective, but particularly as Capaldi goes in motion, and she actually does fake that jet sweep, and the ball is handed off up the middle. But once again, that defensive front for the Wolverines says not today.
Yeah, not really allowing any running yards up the middle so far, and that's exactly what you want from your defense. Don't want to give up that middle zone.
Hard for an offense when you are being consistently stopped on the ground, but you are being successful through the air. You don't want to become one-dimensional, so you have to keep that defense honest by pounding that ground game. But at the moment, the Wolverine defensive line definitely getting the better of the US outfit.
It's quite an interesting formation with the halfback set just off the quarterback, and actually straight into that jet sweep and going backwards with some great defense by those Wolverines.
Initial contact made by number 22, Nikander, and finally brought down by the defensive lineman, Janina Lehen. Once again, apologies if we are mispronouncing any of these Finnish names. I notice you've not attempted any yet, George.
My time will come.
So,
I'm impressed.
Third and 11. Must say, all outfits this weekend have provided us with some outstanding information and resources to use, from the rosters to phonetic pronunciations. Whoa, as it's a high snap and it bounces off Mulligan's hand, and she's having to track back, and she manages to slide and cover the ball, but loses at least 20-25 yards. What a disaster.
Yeah, that really was a disaster, and the Wolverines really down her neck there, breathing down every second that ball was going backwards. She just does enough to cover it up. It'll bring up fourth and very, very long. So not an absolute disaster, I think it's fair to say.
On comes Chelsea Ulti. And indeed, it is Maggie Natel on to punt. I did see Chelsea Ulti running onto the field, and we have her listed as a punter, and she's obviously just slotted in somewhere else, as Maggie Natal will be trying to relieve some pressure here. Good snap this time, and a good high hanging kick. It's fielded.
Oh, it's bobbled.
And it's bobbled, and I think that is going to be a live football, and the Sharks look like they're going to be getting there first. Sharks do cover this up. Signal from the official is first down, New York.
Well, not the most conventional way of getting a first down, but it worked for them there. That high lofted kick, just allowing time for those gunners to get downfield, put some pressure on the returner, who bobbles it, and chased down well by the Sharks. Great reaction to see that bobbling and get on that football.
Really good high hanging kick there. Always difficult to take. Floodlights are on at the moment, but we've still got some good daylight, and just doesn't judge that one very well at all. That's Keongas, guilty of the muffed punt. And the Sharks now. Mulligan goes straight to the air into the left corner. Tipped! Great defensive play. That's Nikander that time, cornerback for the Wolverines.
And really, that should have been picked off. It was low. It was behind a receiver. Should have done more to get that ball back.
Interesting. Like the philosophy behind that play. On a turnover, try and pressure straight away. Go for the home run straight after the turnover. Capitalise if you can. But unfortunately, Mulligan and the offense unsuccessful that time out. So 2nd and 10 with that starting offensive line of Tanken, Bernard, Moneta, Sosa and Tolbo.
That run up the middle again and not really going anywhere. Well wrapped up by the Wolverines.
Been effective, as we've mentioned, providing time for Mulligan to pass, but not opening lanes at this point.
With these big runners that the Sharks have, they do act as body punchers, so we may see that running game open up as we move forward in this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wearing that defensive front down, that will be the hope. Already proved that Mulligan and the receivers can be successful through the air. And as you say, as the second half continues, it may well be that ground game becomes more effective. Can't give up on it, that's for sure. 3rd and 7. Mulligan back to pass again. Looks to her left. Pops the ball over the head of the intended receiver. And that time was Capaldi was the intended receiver, but a little too high that time for her.
Yeah, off target, thrown with great velocity there.
So, again, Mulligan and the offense are backing themselves at this position.
Last time they were in this spot in a 4th down, through for a touchdown.
So let's see what Mulligan and that offensive unit can do. 4th and 7. Similar formation to what we've seen on this drive already. Mulligan drops back, fakes to the left, right rather, pops it back to the left, and it's in and out of the hands of the receiver, and that once again is Capaldi. Capaldi again.
Really got to bring that in. I'm not quite sure she was expecting the ball to reach her, but got to catch that ball.
So,
and that brings up the end of the first quarter. The Wolverines will start the
second
Scores tied at 7-7.
Second possession
Here in the PROCLOUD
at the end of the first period. And we have a tied game. The Helsinki Wolverines 7 and the New York Sharks 7.
Looked very early on that it could have been a shootout situation, but I'm glad for those at home that it has remained a draw throughout this first quarter.
What have your impressions been then of the standard of what you've seen so far? And been mildly, well, I mean, I've been very impressed, I must say.
Yes, both quality outfits, both showing that they can move the football, and I think we've seen a mix of everything so far.
So as you can say, as ever, when we broadcast, we would love you to get involved with the show. Use the hashtag Hell versus NYS. Tell us where you're watching from. It'd be great to know if we've got any transatlantic viewers, any viewers from Finland, as the the Wolverines open up the second period with that similar play that they closed the first with, and that's a good, strong run. And that's once again Kusinen with the carry.
Yeah, breaking 2 tackles on that play. Picked up a decent chunk of yards, round about 5 on that play.
Helsinki Wolverines have been one of the first women's outfits in Finland. Their first season was 2008. The sport has grown rapidly but also steadily in Finland through the years. It's currently played on 3 different series with a total of 20 teams all around the nation. Finnish national team began in 2008 and played its first game against Sweden that very same year, as the ball is up in the air, and that is a completion this time. And that's number 37 with the reception, Jenny Kilpalainen.
It was a nice pickup with that ball spinning in all sorts of directions after the release.
Nevertheless, steps into that pass nicely, but it does come out like a bit of a wounded duck, that one.
Oh, I knew that was coming. I was trying to avoid that.
3rd and 1 now for the Wolverines.
Very manageable 3rd and 1 upcoming, though. And as we've mentioned for the New York Sharks offensive line, the girls in the trenches for the Wolverines doing an admirable job so far protecting and opening lanes. And there's a little draw, and that looks like it could be effective depending on the spot of the ball, although from where we look on that screen I think it's going to be short.
Yeah, it was an interesting play option there. Been running really, really well so far, running that draw, not such a direct way. But it does look like they're going to come up short, as you said.
So let's see. Doesn't look like there's been too much of a change of personnel, so around at midfield the Wolverines appear to be going for this again. Let's see if they can be of any success this time, close to midfield. And there's that pitch to the left once again, and she's got a chance, but that's a great open field tackle.
Flag on the play. Suspect it could well be holding.
You would think where that flag has been thrown, that is the most likely outcome of this one.
If it is holding, of course, the defense will be declining it as it's a 4th down.
Indeed, so let's have a listen. It is holding against the Wolverines as signalled by our officials.
Going to be on the Wolverines. So the Sharks
our head referee this evening is Tim Ockenden.
At the 39-yard line going in.
Not had to get involved too much at the moment of the officiating crew as regarding flags, so a nice clean game so far. Now, that penalty I believe was declined, obviously because that was 4th down. They hadn't made the line to gain, and therefore Mulligan and the Sharks retake the field for their next offensive series.
Starting on those Wolverines 39-yard line.
Mulligan again drops back to pass, looks left, goes to her left. Oh, the ball is intercepted!
It is, it looks like a pick, clean catch there.
That's Emmy Yarn. Emmy Yarn, number 11, with the interception, and that's the old tip drill.
Yeah, great reaction by those defensive backs. You just see it here, fired by Mulligan with some real power, real force. And actually, I think it just goes through the receiver's hands. It bobbles off one, bobbles off two, and as you say, picked off very well by Yarn.
Receiver will be disappointed with that one. It was a catchable ball, if a little high, but great concentration by Yarn to reel that one in.
This game really has been back and forth so far.
So, first down, Wolverines on their own 30. T.I.N. hands off once again, and it's that same running back, Kusanen, getting a heavy workload so far.
Yeah, another nice pickup from her. Looking like they're going to mark her for a gain of around about 8 yards.
Nice pickup of 8 on the play there.
T.I.N. eyeing that next first down for the Wolverines. Seem to be rolling, both offenses, showing signs of what they can do. Stuttering a little, the odd penalty here. Obviously, we've just seen that turnover from Mulligan, although you can't wholly blame Mulligan for that pick. As once again, Kosinen off to the left side of that offensive line, and it looks like she will have got plenty enough to pick up the first down for the Wolverines.
Good 10-yard pickup there by the looks of it. Strong running to that left-hand side.
Melissa plays in on the stop there with some help from Melina.
So first down, Wolverines. Here it is again, look, this time an inside handoff.
Look at the offensive line there. Fantastic blocking, cutting in, and just pushing all that defensive front to the inside, allowing the outside run.
Textbook work there from that offensive front.
If they can't get the penetration quick, this running game is really going to pound. It's really going to grind them down.
First down, Helsinki. Little back foot pass. Now you can see she lost power on that because she was throwing off that back foot that time. Intended receiver there was Sapala, Sani Sapala, but I say Tiainen not getting the power required on that one.
Seems to be a little off with the passing game so far, but the run game really carrying him forward.
So here we go with 2nd and 10. 2nd and 10 for the Finnish outfit. Wolverines are their name and very much the colour of the Michigan Wolverines out in the States. The ball is on the jet sweep and good lateral pursuit that time. That's Darlene Blue Hall, who drags down the runner.
On the jet sweep there.
Yeah, great defense that time. It's going to push him back 2-3 yards. So going to bring up a 3rd and very long.
3rd and 12 indeed, as you mentioned, upcoming. And after the turnover, not been able to capitalise massively. 1 first down picked up. Nothing more profitable than that at the moment. Let's see if we can convert the Wolverines first down here. As Tiainen drops back to pass, she has time this time. The ball goes over the middle, and that's pinballed off. First the receiver's hand, and then I think the head off one of the defensive backs for the Sharks.
Yeah, it was wonderful coverage by the Sharks that time. Really throwing into 1, 2, 3. Women look like they got up there. Not a great option for the quarterback.
And 4th and 13.
So you can see, yeah. Tiainen drops back. She's got look like offensive line again, George. Great work from those girls up front. And just real good coverage, double coverage in fact there. So the punt is going to be up this time. It's punting for the corner, and it's looking like it's taken a New York bounce, definitely. Rolls out of bounds at around about the 24-yard line, where the Sharks will take over once again.
So far, both defenses holding up really well. I know we've both seen a score from both teams, but other than that, nowhere really to go.
So this is the PROCLOUD Trophy, PROCLOUD Transatlantic Trophy, and the team sponsors PROCLOUD, or a firm based in Lichfield, Staffordshire. Actually, a creative software company. It's great that they've managed to support this venture, which I'm sure will be the first of many. So here we go, first down, New York. So first down, New York. as Mulligan drops back to pass once again. Beautiful slant pattern this time. Caught over the middle. Only a pickup of 4, but nevertheless it looked very pretty.
Yeah, nice completion. Mulligan really needing to find a rhythm now after that initial or that previous interception. Just got to calm those nerves and get back to full confidence.
2nd and 6 now for the Sharks.
So 2nd and 6 Sharks. Still inside their own 30-yard line. The positive yardage on first down is always a bonus. Opens the playbook up when you can look at 2nd and 6 as opposed to 2nd and 10, 11. Mulligan handles that snap and it's a fake. Does very well faking that pass after the handoff, but the lateral pursuit again from the Wolverines defense is good. And the runner is brought down for a minimal gain, if not, in fact, a gain of 0.
Yeah, good defensive work that time. Sideline to sideline defense is really good from this Wolverine team so far.
Like the way that after the handoff, Mulligan there still fakes that that pass. Another big barreling runner for the Sharks.
Looks like number 42 of the Wolverines is that's on the ground, Usima.
And it's always a worry when the player goes down and stays down in a similar position to how they fell. And there's not been a massive amount of movement yet from them.
Did look like she took a big shot there from the running back. She did well to hold on and bring her down.
Medics, I think, being signalled on. As I mentioned, no end of people enable an event like this to take place. Obviously, we've mentioned Enterprise, the car rental company who are instrumental in providing support. Midshire, technology for your office. Another game sponsor, Midshire Business Systems Limited. We thank them for their help. And also Ace Embroidery Limited, game sponsor for today and all weekend. So those 3 sponsors particularly notable to be thanked, but equally no end of people behind the scenes getting involved. Andrew Bowen, head coach of the Lions women, Jamie Kilby.
And I drugged out and I got a face cage pelt on the first one. And he was like, have you got another? It's fine, we get a first down. And we got like a 25-yard run to get a first down. And I was like,
so yes, just sorry about the pause, just looking on with interest about the welfare of the Wolverine player. Andrew Bowen and head coach Jamie Kilby obviously put a lot of work into the event and pulling together to make this happen. Today's game sponsor is Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Obviously, big thanks to BAFA and the University of Birmingham for sanctioning the event, and the event and facilities staff here at the uni for all their support. It's good to see that player actually managing to get off under our own steam, which is good to see.
That's a good starting salary, that is.
Not bad at all from Enterprise. If you've not secured that loan yet, get yourself involved. Absolutely. So, 3rd and 5 for the Sharks upcoming. They're looking to keep this drive alive if they can. So incidentally, Joe Kilby, obviously on the lines, instrumental in putting this event together as well, coordinating the teams coming across, and a fantastic job as Mulligan completes her pass over the middle and has enough and more for first down yardage.
Really starting to get this offense moving this time.
Brilliant fields again.
So first down Sharks, just short of midfield.
That's enough to pick up
Midway through this second period here in Birmingham as the floodlights begin to do their job. So let's see if Mulligan and the offense can continue this good work. Trips to the right this time. One receiver over to the left. Mulligan surveys that Wolverine defense. And this time hands off, and play intended to go to the right-hand side, and the runner cuts it back to the left and manages to pick up 3.
These Wolverines have done an excellent job in run defense so far.
So the New York Sharks were the winningest and longest operating women's tackle team in the world. First women's American team to have a signed football in the NFL Hall of Fame. And they were the first team to host an NFL-sponsored football camp just for girls. Notably as well, the first team to play at the halftime of an NFL game. As Mulligan again drops back to pass, and she's got time and flings the ball out to her right, and she has a receiver, and a great catch made. And this time, that's Jenny for King.
That ball that time had a lot of hang time, enough time for the defence to get underneath it, but well brought in by King. And it's going to be another first down for these Sharks.
Coming straight towards our commentary position there, and you could see that immediately as King caught that ball, she was met by the defender and did well to manage to secure possession. Here we go, look straight at the camera. Good concentration, knew the hit was coming and managed to keep that ball under control to the ground, bringing up another Sharks first down. And Mulligan again, once again, ball handed off, up the middle, and that defensive front again being successful. Wilkerson managing to get past the line of scrimmage, but only for a yard or two, and there's another Wolverine down.
Thou shalt not pass.
Indeed. Wolverines obviously feeling the pressure a little at this stage. So yeah, the New York Sharks, I say, Sharks have been a flag football team since the early 90s. When the WPFL began the barnstorming tour in 99, the Sharks became one of 3 teams. In August 2000, Andrea Douglas purchased the team and has owned it ever since. Today, the many firsts and the successes of the team on and off the field have made it one of the most storied teams in women's tackle football across the pond. As I mentioned already, this will be the last time the Sharks take the field as the New York Sharks. They are rebranding at the culmination of this tournament in a merger. Nevertheless, they want to go out on a high as they have done in their domestic league, winning that Division 2 title.
But I think as a whole, this tournament's great advert for the women's game, women's sport in general, and just showing what these women can do. We've seen some big hits, some big plays, and I certainly wouldn't want to be stood out there.
Absolutely not. Most memorable game for the current and past season, we asked the Sharks organisation, and the 2018 championship game in Atlanta last month, where the Sharks defeated the Minnesota Vixen by a score of 27-21. And obviously that championship game put a wonderful punctuation mark on the final game for this storied franchise in their current guise. We'll see what the future brings for them. It's Janina Lehan down, prone at the moment on the ground. Shout out here for the gents at Onside Productions, who will be covering all 3 games this weekend here in Birmingham. Tonight's fixture, obviously, the Wolverines against the Sharks. Tomorrow sees the Wolverines take the field once again and take on the hometown Birmingham Lions. And on Sunday, the final fixture of the weekend pits those Lions against the New York Sharks. So Sharks have a day off to recuperate and come back down here and watch what the Lions have to offer. Wolverines will be straight back on it, and that's tough, playing 2 games in 2 days.
It really is, yeah, and that's actually why they're playing 11-minute quarters. It falls in to their insurance that way around. Speaking to members of the BAFA board last week at the junior finals, they had to find a nice compromise, and originally they were looking at 8 minutes, which I thought, well, it's a long way to fly to only play that much football. Of course, the Lions wanted to play full 15 minutes, and eventually settling on 11 minutes, which fits in nice quarter length and fitting in with that insurance as well. So
good to see Lehan managing to get off the field under her own steam once again. So wish her all the best and hopefully see her return to the game if possible. But Mulligan on second down. Mulligan and the Sharks offense does really seem to have a good command of the field and a field dominating figure. Fakes that inside handoff, flips the ball out to the left. A nice little move out on the left, just outside the left hashes.
So three for 3 that time on this drive so far from Mulligan, so wait to get that interception off your shoulders.
There's a nice little play action move there, and she knows straight away in the flats there she's got Capardi. Capardi sits and waits. Nice block from her fellow receiver out on the left hand side. Puts a little move on Nikander, Yannicka Nikander, and picks up another Shark first down. 1st and 10 on the Wolverines 15-yard line. All sorts of time. Oh, and this time Mulligan pitches that one into the dirt.
Yeah, it was the right read, just not enough loft on the ball. It looked like she was looking for Jennifer King that time. She's already caught 1 pass on this drive.
So, 2nd and 10 upcoming for the Sharks, New York-based Sharks. Great to be able to comment on international football. Indeed, we were mentioning before the game, this is the first onside production where we haven't had a British national anthem at the beginning of the game. An English national anthem or Scottish or...
You don't know, I wasn't playing that in my car journey around campus.
So, 2nd and 10, New York. This time play action again, and it's a bit of a read that time. He looks out for Jennifer King, but just out of her reach.
Just a little too far out for Jennifer King to get a hold of it.
Brings up a big 3rd and 10, and a stop here for the Wolverines will really buoy them.
That's going to bring up a 3rd down.
They are in field goal range, although we've seen them go for fourth down already.
So, third down upcoming. Let's see whether Mulligan can find that magic that she's displayed on the previous couple of drives and convert this 3rd down. As dusk falls over Birmingham, what has been a lovely late summer's day once again. Mulligan now does have time, pump fakes, hits that same pass she was looking for on 3rd down, close to the end zone, and ruled down on the 3-inch line.
Yeah, that's an interesting call that time, but King really showing that she can hit like any running back, coming off. Wonderful grab by the receiver and trying to just ball over that defensive back.
Now then, this is where...
I see on this replay, but...
nice pump fake from Mulligan, just holding the defenders. You see the little pump there, little pump, and then flips it out to King.
Official was certain that was...
Yeah, not the greatest camera angle for us to see, but it does look like she probably was down short.
Just missing that on that camera shot there. A big shot from the defence. And yeah, another injury call.
That's Shannon Burrell, and it looks like on that hit, it looks like the helmet was actually dislodged.
I think she's whipped that off actually pretty quick, but Wolverines flew through there. And, well, actually, you heard the collision. We'll just see it on this replay.
But once again, this is where that defensive front for the Wolverines in the run game has been so effective so far, and they're really going to rely on it now when it's 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. So you can see Mulligan there surveying. Burrell there, just to her left, and ball immediately. No!
2 linebackers coming straight through the middle, and that is not where you want to be stood. Virtually stood still as well.
Tina Mutanen with the initial contact.
It looked like Caro was the other tackling linebacker. Flew through, great penetration.
Great call there on the goal line, gambling a little bit that it was going to be a run, but on 1st down, that gamble paid off now. All being well, Burrell will be okay. We will see. But like you say, earlier in the game, there's no shortage of intensity, of big hits. Get in touch with us here at the show and let us know what you think so far of the action here in Birmingham. That hashtag Hell versus NYS. Good to have some Friday night football, some Saturday night football, or Saturday football, and then some Sunday football here from Birmingham. Obviously coming to the end of the domestic league here over the next couple of weekends. It's Brit Bowl weekend in the UK next weekend.
Yeah, London Blitz, Tamworth Phoenix, that'll be a big one.
That's on Saturday.
Tamworth looking to defend that title after seeing off the Blitz in last year's final in, well, what was a very, very close game.
And then Sunday sees the Division 1 national title game between the Kent Exiles and the Leicester Falcons.
And then, of course, we've got the Division 2 finals coming up this weekend, this Sunday, as well as the women's 3rd round.
So lots of football on in the UK as the game continues to grow and develop, and with events such as this, not only the fact that it is an international event, but the fact it's an international women's event as well is just a sign of how things seem to be progressing over here in the UK. And we are...
So good to see that she's up. Sorry to interrupt you
there.
Okay. It's actually Wilkerson that...
no, it is. Janae Wilkerson was the... the running back, who's good to see her up on her feet, and she manages to get off under her own steam once again, but a vicious hit.
Yeah, taking her off the concussion protocol, so it'll be interesting to see if she returns to the game after taking such a monstrous hit.
But I say, we are thrilled on site to be able to provide coverage of all these events, and bringing as much UK football to the masses as we are able to. Things will hopefully just keep growing and growing for Steve and Tom and the onside production team. So here we go then. After first and goal from the 3-inch line, we now face second and goal from the 8, and the officials step in before that one even has a chance to get started. Officials timeout.
And that brings up the 2-minute warning.
And that is the 2-minute warning here. So after quite a hectic start in the first quarter, this one settled down a little bit with big hits really being the key of this one.
Nothing wrong with good defence, Matt.
Not at all. Let's see if Mulligan can say anything about that as she drops back to pass, flips the ball out to the left again. The ball is caught, and waltzing into the end zone is Gina Capardi for the second Sharks touchdown of the evening.
Yeah, Wolverines looking to put quite a lot of pressure on up the middle again. Just read nicely by the offense. Nice completion into the flat and in for the touchdown.
So you can see a little, not a great deal of play action that time, but that ball flipped out to the flats, and Capardi has the easiest of jobs skirting into the end zone. See if the extras can be added. The kick is up. The kick is good, which gives us just inside the 2-minute warning of a score. The Helsinki Wolverines 7 and the New York Sharks 14.
I hope that next paddock is unlocked so they can get these footballs back.
One lost over on the tennis courts, but I know Stuart Andrew very proud of the footballs that he's managed to.
He is, yeah, but is Wayne Hill going to scale that fence?
He's through.
Oh, he has.
He's through.
Yeah, I don't know if he's scaled it or if he's just opened the gate, but I really hope he's scaled it.
But to be fair, he's obviously not messing around getting that ball back.
Oh, I think they've spent some money on those footballs.
Indeed, they have. Very nice they are too, emblazoned with our sponsors for the event as well. So let's see what this Wolverine 2-minute offense can muster. After the Sharks take the go-ahead score. And a very impressive drive, that one, must be said, which saw the running game gain a little bit of ground on that defensive front for the Wolverines, but still engineered by Mulligan and the passing game. So here we go. Kickoff ensuing. Two Wolverines ready and waiting, back at around their own 20-yard line. See if they can take this one clean. And this time, Maggie Nuttall puts the ball high into the Birmingham evening sky. And it's fielded and muffed again. And there's a chance. And who wants that more? And it's still live. And kick returner Martola just manages to secure that one. Initially, didn't have a clue where it was.
Yeah, I think she just lost that as it came in from the air. And just looks a little confused, didn't quite get her body round quick enough. You just see it, just almost catching over her back shoulder.
I think that the ball's fumbled at that point, but yes, not really knowing where that one had gone, and did well.
Don't think our cameraman really knew where that one had gone either.
Brave of the kick returner not to just initially fall on that ball and try and pick it up with a sliding shark biting at her ankles. But nevertheless, the Wolverines do manage to secure possession. They find 1st and 10 on their own 13-yard line. And Tiainen drops to pass. Lots of time again. Oh, and I
think the official actually got in the way that time. Official playing some defence. 12th woman on the field, 12th man on the field.
Sepala, unfortunately, intended receiver, just sort of throws her arms up and says, what can I do about that? Unfortunate for the Wolverine offence on 1st down.
2nd and 10 now for Helsinki.
So 2nd down upcoming. Once again, get in touch. Tell us if you're watching. Tell us how you're enjoying it. Tell us who you're supporting. It'd be great to hear from you and be able to read a few of your messages out on air this evening. So 2nd and 10, Helsinki. A little bit of a play action. Rolling round to her right and beautifully received, and that's Sepala. Intended receiver on the last play, who was interfered with by the official. But this time, Tiainen rolls right and puts a beautiful pass over the shoulder of Sapala, and she manages to haul it in for a Helsinki first down.
Yeah, it was a great throw on the run as well, finding a receiver wide open on that sideline.
So close to midfield now, the Wolverines up around about their 30-yard line, and again, dropping back to pass, flips the ball out, and that is just a little high that time. Intended receiver was Keepalainen. And Tiainen that time finds the pass fall incomplete, but will stop the clock.
Yeah, he got hands on the ball, but a difficult one to try and reel in.
So, 2nd and 10 upcoming for the women from Finland. They have shown they're able to move the ball on this Sharks defence. And I think a 14-7 scoreline is a fair reflection of what's gone on so far. There's that draw again, and the middle opens up beautifully. And the runner stays on her feet. Kuusinen. And Kuusinen gets past the 40.
Really nice draw play there. Drew the defence in, finding the gap up the middle, and away they go.
One of the keys to that as well is the way that Tiainen sold that as a pass to begin with.
Yeah, quite happy, quite comfortable to sit in the pocket there.
Flips out, and she's got Sapala again. Pick up a 5 yards and gets out of bounds.
And pass is complete there to Sani Sapala.
Keeps the keeps the ball moving on first down. So now inside the 50 at about the 46 of the Sharks. Trying to speed things up with their style of offense now. That last play was very much a sort of no huddle affair, but they do go back on 2nd down now and talk things over. That same spread again, 2 receivers either side, and there's that draw play again, but this time, well, actually it was read well, but the strength that time of Kuusinen.
2 defensive players just trying to grab those legs, but just fighting forward for the extra couple yards.
So timeout called, I believe.
On the stop there.
Timeout called by the Wolverines. Big thanks. 44 seconds remaining in the second period here, with a score of the Sharks 14 and the Wolverines 7. Shout out to Football America, who are partner vendors, and obviously our official game sponsor for today, Enterprise Rent-A-Car, without whose help this would not be possible this evening. So
Enterprise is an American-based company, isn't it? I
believe so.
Seem to think they have an American actor in it, certainly.
There's definitely that. Well, there was the advertisement section where there was a British gentleman and an American chap. But anyway, here we go. Great block, and that ball just falls short, but a great block by Kuusinen that time, picking up the blitzing Shark. Brings up 4th down though, and you would have thought at this stage the Wolverines are going to go for it here. Watch this block by Kuusinen. You see the linebackers edging up to the line of scrimmage there, and here they come. Watch this block pickup. That's a beautiful pickup. And there's 4th down, and 4th down is unable to convert, and the Sharks will take over. And whether or not they can manage to put any points down and stretch that lead.
Yeah, not a lot of time left, but enough time to have at least 3 shots, I would think, at the end zone.
Sharks will be on offense at the beginning of the second half as well, having kicked off at the start of the game. So if they can go up by any number of points at this stage, that will be very beneficial to them. 2 receivers left, 2 right. Mulligan again surveys that field, looking at that defensive formation, and we knew she was going to drop back to pass, and she looks left and puts the ball up to the left, and it's behind her intended receiver, who is Gina Capardi.
Capardi, of course, already with the earlier touchdown.
So it brings up 2nd down and 10 for the Sharks. See whether or not the the Wolverines can hold, and you would think, realistically, the Wolverines are in favour of protecting this lead, but anything can happen in this game, and generally does. So Mulligan set back in that pistol formation again. It's a deep pistol, almost shotgun, pump fakes to the left, goes down the middle, and she has a receiver, and just as I mentioned, anything can happen. It does, and it's touchdown Sharks. Breland Fields with the big play after that pump fake from Mulligan, froze that Wolverine defense.
Fantastic read by Mulligan to find a wide open, and really is wide open. There is actually an injured player on the far end of the field. A great throw, great catch, and well, good running just to bring it into the end zone.
Beautifully hit in stride though, Mulligan over the top to Fields. Fields doesn't have to break a stride, and it's in for 6. And as I was saying about the Wolverines possibly having an advantage with the length of field to defend, Mulligan to Fields completes me, puts me back in my box.
Yeah, the Sharks ate that up real quick.
Pun City. George Lee's being commended by Tom Henley there on that latest Shark pun.
That was only the first one, I think.
It was?
I'll be honest, I'm not gone overboard. Not yet.
I don't know. I tried a shark snapping at the heels earlier on that you just obviously fell on stony ground. But nevertheless, here we go for the extra point. The kick is up. And once again, as with the previous two,
Wayne
the
Hill
kick
will have to go and jump the fence.
is good. And with merely seconds remaining in this first half, the Sharks extend their lead to 21 points to 7 here at the University of Birmingham in the United Kingdom. Look at that lovely pump fake to the left, beautifully behind the defenders, hits Fields in stride, and she waltzes in for 6.
Yeah, straight through the middle of the zone as well. Great read.
Still 20 seconds left in the half.
So 20 seconds left, and as we mentioned about anything can happen, if one of these two returners, Martola being that number 10 nearest to us, can find a seam, and she showed earlier on in the game that she was able to scythe through that Shark special team coverage. Oh, what the Wolverines would give for a similar outcome on this return.
Yeah, need to get something here. The Sharks will be really happy, real confident going into the half if they can keep those points to a minimum.
Particularly with the fact that they, as I mentioned, will come out on offense at the beginning of the second half.
Are we about to see a Sharknado? That was awful. That was awful.
You got a well done from the booth.
Have you ever watched that film?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which one? One or number 93,
I didn't realise it made more than one. Oh, yeah. Dear.
There is an epic series as the kick is chipped up, and it's looking short kick, and it is fielded this time by Martola, and great coverage. Wonderful coverage downfield. That's Nandi Brown on the coverage.
Yeah, absolutely flew downfield, and I think the returner a little tentative after that first drop that she made earlier.
So inside the last 20 seconds of half.
So inside this last 20 seconds, as you heard our stadium announcer provide details to a significant crowd upon the bank shrouded in darkness. I think that's the Birmingham Lions ladies team watching on, doing a little bit of scouting work for tomorrow evening, and indeed for Sunday. Sunday, the Birmingham Lions women will take on the Sharks, but first up for the Lions, these Wolverines tomorrow.
20 seconds left. I think they've got to look to put some points on the board here.
Let's see whether Tiainen and this Wolverine offense can pounce and attack that Shark defense. They need a pack mentality moving forward in this last 20 seconds as ball flipped out to the right, and that's almost intercepted.
Well, there is a flag on that play.
And that looks like
almost picked off.
Could be pass interference against the offense. The way that the sideline of the Sharks went up there, whether or not it was couldn't really get a great view. See if we can see anything from this angle. The ball is up there, and no, they're going to be, I think they were screaming for pass interference against the defense, which has been called, and that will march the Sharks back.
Inside the last 10 seconds now.
10 seconds remaining of this first half here at the University of Birmingham.
Just waiting for confirmation from the officials.
Let's see whether or not the Wolverines can capitalise on that.
On the defense today. I know, I'm not allowed to say. I thought it was a little harsh. I can't say that. It's okay.
So here we go. First down, Wolverines.
Anyway.
Got a real autumnal feel to the evening now.
Yeah, worth noting that the safeties aren't sat very deep. Certainly this one on our side of the field.
Absolutely. Depends how willing these Wolverines are to put that ball down the field. Like you say, 2 safeties. Cover 2 formation means that middle seam is open. Should Tiainen and the offense wish to exploit that.
He hasn't shown a lot of deep power so far and just bobbles that snap slightly.
Plenty of time again, and she hits that receiver Sepala, and that may well be that for the first half. As the officials signal, and 5 seconds remaining as the Wolverines use another timeout. So first down Wolverines after that completion from Tiainen to Sepala, keeping Wolverine hopes alive. You've got to think they've got to heave it.
You've got to go for it here.
As you mentioned, though, Tiainen not necessarily shown great arm strength, good accuracy, but not great arm strength so far. But as I mentioned earlier, anything can happen, and generally does.
Defense have done a great job. I don't think Tiainen has tried to throw deep.
Been an extremely enjoyable first half, George. Had some powerful runs, some great defense, as you've mentioned. That defensive front for the Wolverines very much limiting the Sharks' rushing attack. But equally, the Sharks' aerial attack very dominant over the Finnish secondary. As Tiainen again drops and she flips the ball over, and this time it's picked! And this could be going for 6 the other way. She's at the 10, the 5, still on her feet, into the end zone. Touchdown, New York Sharks!
I don't think they were wanting to do that.
Wow.
It was an interesting throw there. You really got to put that deep with 5 seconds left on the board. Ultimately, if they intercept it deep downfield, it's almost like throwing it away as a punt.
And that's
throwing it in the flat. That's just green grass for the defensive back to take that all the way back to the house.
And that's a shame as well for not only for the Wolverines, but it's a shame for the game because obviously Wolverines, as their head coach mentioned to me earlier on, been on the road since 2 a.m. this morning. They're obviously going to be struggling anyway, but now 27, potentially 28-7 down at the half is going to be with the Sharks. Oh, and it's a high snap, ball is down, and now trying to make something of it. So the score remains 27-7, and that will be the end of this first period, and a very enjoyable, highlight-ridden first period here in Birmingham.
Yeah, very much so. The Wolverines have got a long way to try and claw this back in the second half.
And as I mentioned, with the Sharks on offense at the beginning of the second half, it is a mountain to climb for that Wolverine outfit. So, we will take a breather here in Birmingham. Much more to come, not only from us, but from the Sharks and the Wolverines. Join us for second half action after this break.
We are the official UK distributors and retailers for Riddell, Rawlings, Wilson Footballs, Nike and Under Armour. This gives us the largest range of products in the UK. We also offer team merchandise. We can supply a full range of clothing, all printed and embroidered in-house. Please feel free to visit our showroom at 8 Hill Lane Industrial Estate, Markfield, Leicester, LE67 9PM.
So, welcome back to the University of Birmingham here in the Midlands, where we just await the PA to... there we go, all ready for second half action here between the Helsinki Wolverines and the New York Sharks. If you weren't with us in the first half, I'm Matt Walker. I'm joined by my long-time colleague, George Lees, as the ball is fumbled by the New York Sharks. She runs a long way laterally, does Brown, but she remains on her feet and does pick up positive yardage in the end. And the Sharks will start the second half up 27-7 and at their 30-yard line.
Does find a little seam to try and get some yardage back that time.
So, George, sum up that first half for us, and anyone just tuning in on this Friday night?
Well, first quarter was very, very close, one score for both, but that well, it does look like we've got another injury in the bottom half of the field. Yeah, in that second quarter, the Sharks really took off, getting 2 offensive scores, and then in the dying seconds, getting a pick 6 as well.
And it does look like that's Nondi Brown, the returner, who is lying flat out just outside the 30-yard line. I've been very impressed.
It looks like 18 there.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, you are right, it's Nondi Brown.
I've been very impressed with all facets, to be fair. I mean, the one thing that stood out for me is the offensive line work, particularly in pass protection from both units. We've already mentioned that the offensive line for the Sharks has maybe struggled a little bit to open up running lanes.
Yeah, it has struggled a bit, but then you've got a powerful defensive front against you. Also not getting much pass pressure on. They are stuffing the run, sending quite a lot of pressure against the run as well.
It actually appears we have 2 players down. We've got obviously Brown on that far sideline as we look at it, but I just noticed Coach Hopkins for the Sharks wandering over to this near sideline where the medical crew are attending to another member of the Sharks. So at this point, if you'd like to get involved with the show, we'd love you to. We'd love you to be able to read out some of your messages online here. George and I always love hearing from the viewers. Obviously, if you wish to comment on our commentary skills, then please do. We're always looking to learn.
That's a brave, brave man, that is. Just asking for some abuse.
Well, abuse is only fuel. Fuel to get better, George. But anyway, we've obviously been doing this a couple of years now, and we really enjoy doing it. And I know there's certain things that we may get wrong. There's certain things that I know we get right, and I know with the amount of positivity that we've had coming towards us, George.
Off days and good days.
Absolutely.
It happens to everyone.
All part of being a human being. But yes, please get in touch. We'd love to read some of your messages out. This game brought to you by the game day sponsor, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We thank Enterprise for being involved, managing to put up, and we might be able to see on our replay there of the misfield. I'll come back to Enterprise in a minute. And the misfield initially by Brown. She manages to scoop that ball back up. I wonder whether can see any of an injury.
Oh, there you go. I think it's just tweaked a knee going down.
And you see Nonde Brown on the far side there, and I think her injury is once again. That's probably going to be actually she's planted into the turf, helmet first by the coverage.
This 4G surface that we're on, well, it's a very nice surface to play on. It also offers up a few issues in regards to sprains and tweaks.
Indeed. But as we mentioned, Rent-A-Car going a long way to putting on the game today. If you've not secured a graduate job yet, it's not too late. Send your CV to julia.speed@ehi.com to fast-track your way onto an exciting new career for 2018-19. And like you say,
I might be handing mine.
Starting salary, that's about 19 grand more than you're on at the minute, I think.
Well, you know what they say about farming. To be a millionaire, you've got to start off as a billionaire.
Absolutely,
so
yeah.
You only lose money.
Absolutely. But thanks to our friends at Enterprise for helping with today's game. Also, not forgetting Football America. Football America obviously always around and about, supporting ventures in the UK game, and this weekend is no exception. Dave Hagger and the crew down at Football America.
Joe Walker knocking around somewhere.
Indeed, well,
new to the team.
See the vans in the car park
the
behind
vans
us.
There. I don't know if they're selling anything today, but
And equally, all the people around the University of Birmingham, Andrew Bone and head coach from the ladies women's team, Jamie Kilby, lots of work gone into.
Stuart Andrews is just running in front of us. He has got some explosive speed.
It's a turn of pace and half, isn't it?
If you've ever seen him, I mean, that really is a Usain Bolt right there.
But I mean, we joke a little bit. I think that's in reply to the scene we've got on the field there. So, but yes. But as I was saying, Andrew Bone and head coach Jamie Kilby put in a lot of work into getting this one going, as did Joe Kilby, who liaised with the Wolverines, the Sharks, and obviously with the Lions to get this inaugural Transatlantic PROCLOUD Trophy up and running. So, as
looks like they are up now.
Yeah,
certainly one injury from this far side. We can't quite get a number.
Might be able to catch that on our camera as she enters the fray on the far left. No, just a bit of a struggle there. But nevertheless, the amount of time and effort that people put into an event like this, not just one game, but a 3-day event, takes all sorts of organising. So, some of the tweets then that we've had. See if we can catch up on some here. Oh, it's good to see game action going on and getting started once again very soon. So it'll be after that initial, and that was the opening kickoff of the second half, so that will be 1st and 10. Sharks at their own 30-yard line. Let's see if Mulligan and the Sharks offense can pick up rather. Oh, see now, the unfortunate thing is when you have injuries, it kind of gets teams out of rhythm, and that one right there is a false start against the Sharks, which will march them back significantly. 5 yards on their opening possession, and quick to fall out of rhythm in this game. Easily done.
Yeah, when you do get that slow period, as you say, it just takes a moment or two to get back into that rhythm and get the offense moving again.
So here we go, 1st and 15 now for Mulligan and the Sharks. There's that motion player again, and that's Capardi in motion. And this time we start off with a run. And the run is to the left-hand side of that offensive line. Looks like to be Janae Wilkerson. And good to see Wilkerson back after she sustained that vicious hit.
Yeah, that big
first
hit. Well, was the start of the second quarter. She's feeling a bit more comfortable.
So 2nd and 13, maybe 12 as our caption suggests, after a pickup of 3 on 1st down. I've got lots of tweets coming in that we will get to as and when we can. Capardi in motion again, this time right to left, and Mulligan's going to the air. Looks to the left, pump fakes once, pulls it in, and that's in and out of the hands of Maggie Nuttall.
Yeah, it was Nick Conda there on the coverage, really in the face of the receiver that time.
And all of a sudden we have 3rd and long. 3rd and long for the Sharks, and just the start that the Wolverines would want. If they can hold the Sharks to 3 and out here, they would hold some hope, maybe narrowing that deficit. But at the moment, the Sharks more resembling a megalodon in the way they've approached this one. 3rd and long.
I'm not quite sure if that means Jurassic or whether it means they're very, very good.
A monstrous animal as Mulligan goes to her right.
And that's a second drop for that offense.
In and out of the hands of Capardi this time, and that will bring up 4th down.
Momentum really not in their favour.
Just again, that was, Capardi, difficult catch, but it's one she may expect to reel in. So 4th down. We have Jenny Cowangas waiting deep to return, standing just outside our own 30-yard line. Now this ball is going to be coming out of the floodlights, and as I mentioned earlier,
this is an interesting way to play the gunner in your bottom right-hand corner, quite a way off. And actually not quite aware that the gunner's taken off and not really working for them.
And if I was the Wolverines there, I would get out of the way of that one, as it does take a Wolverine bounce. And they will gain real good field position for their ensuing drive, their first offensive series of the first half. So, let's get some of these tweets. So we've got at Malibu _ Baberies, that's Kimberly. Capardi in motion. Like it. At Nina Risticelli, watching some interesting football tonight. French girl cheering for the Wolverines. Good to have you on board, Nina. We've got Mintu, spending Friday night with my teammates. Always such a pleasure seeing strong women do their thing on the football field. We quite agree as we see the strong women from Helsinki take to the field for their opening offensive series of this second period. More tweaks to come as we go through this second half. So, Tiainen under centre again, or well, actually shotgun formation, and there's that big barreling runner, Kusinen, we saw so much action from in the first half, and a real workhorse.
Yeah, good pick up there. And they're really going to have to start leaning on this running game. It's the only way they've got this ball moving so far.
Vanessa, you won't like this one. Vanessa at Writer Craze 12. Keep the Sharknado references out of the commentary, please. Let's go Sharks. O-line holding it down. So there's one viewer who wasn't as much of a fan as our production crew might have been. But nevertheless, it's 2nd and 5, and there she is again, and she's on her feet, and she's outside, and she's dragging runners with her. Kusinen showing that power, that low centre of gravity, strong upper body. And barrels her way for a Helsinki first down.
Perhaps Vanessa was one of those actors that made the unfortunate mistake of partaking in the film. I do kid, of course. Just defending my earlier reference.
As you've mentioned, George, whatever we say, you can only can't please all of the people all the time. Some of the people, one person once would be nice.
Yeah. Moving on quickly.
As the ball is this time, Kusinen once again up the middle, but nothing doing there. So it will bring up 2nd and long, 2nd and 9 after that initial inside run. After Kusinen was successful in picking up big yardage on that previous play.
Need to find a way to get a score this drive. They're already three scores down.
So, 2nd and 9 upcoming for the Wolverines.
9 yards now for the Wolverines. They try and get a score.
Tiainen once again surveys that defence. And the ball is once again given to Kusinen, who has a hole up the middle, and she barrels her way forward.
Just slipping.
Nice trap block there by Helsinki.
Nice run for her there.
You might be able to see this on the replay. You may have heard our stadium announcer mention this, but it was a lovely trap block which sprung Kusinen that time. Enabled her to get to the 2nd level of that Shark defence.
3rd and 1,
here we go.
Short. Yeah, and
there
you go.
It is.
Big hole. And just slipping as she goes to cut.
But nevertheless, brings up a third and 1. You would have thought with Kusinen in there, she will be the recipient of this one, and indeed she is. And that time, though, the Sharks are not tricked. And she is stopped.
There's a late flag on that play.
There is a late flag that's coming there.
And you would have thought the way that came in, that's going to be possibly against the Sharks.
I'm not quite sure what it would have been for, but it was a very late flag.
It's personal foul, face mask.
Yep, it's a personal foul.
So yeah, I thought the way that came in so late, I think holding would have been gone by then. And
yeah,
there it is. There it is.
Clear as day.
We'll bring up a first down.
So it is first down Wolverines by way of the yellow hanky.
That's going to be a big pickup through that penalty.
Still just outside
So, yep, after the
10-yard line.
It will be 1st and goal now.
In fact, it is inside the 10. It's at the 9-yard line, so 1st and goal. And as you've mentioned, the Wolverines really need to find a way to cross that goal line.
Looking
on
at
this.
Those Sharks inside linebackers licking the lips, thinking it's going to be a run.
Tiainen goes to the air, and that's very, very risky pass over the head of Hall, who was hovering at her linebacker spot.
Yeah, it was Keongas that she was looking for that time.
Once again, just not the velocity, really, on that pass.
No, and that's where she differs from Mulligan. She makes some nice throws on the read, but just not quite right.
And again, thrown into double coverage. So never the easiest of...
Always giving them a shout out.
Indeed. So, second and goal from the similar spot after that incompletion, the 9-yard line. Tiainen again drops back and fools our cameraman. And this time it's out of the grasp of her intended receiver. That's Jenny Kilpelainen.
Yeah, very much so, fooling our cameraman. And not picking it up. If she had got that complete pass, it could have led to that score.
I tell you what, it's not easy to fool our cameramen. Generally,
I don't know, he might be getting dizzy up there. Maybe some vertigo starting to take effect. He was on a big climbing frame at one point.
Generally a very good knowledge of the game, though, and can read what an offense is doing, obviously being ex-football players themselves.
Mark of a good quarterback if they can fool our cameraman.
Absolutely. So third and goal for Tiainen and this Wolverine offense. She drops back and she looks to pass. Ball over the middle, caught! Touchdown, Wolverines!
Touchdown, Helsinki Wolverines!
Looks like Sapala.
Sapala appears to be her go-to receiver.
Yeah, Sapala doing some wonderful things over the middle. Nice completion, nice score. And exactly what these Wolverines needed right now. As the bell rings,
as the bell tolls, bang on the hour of 9 p.m.
I hate to tell the University of Birmingham, but actually their bell is 2 minutes too fast.
I concur as the kick is up, and the kick is good. So, this second half, the Wolverines should be buoyed. Not only have they stopped the Sharks on a 3 and out on their opening possession, but they've now just marched half the length of the field on this pass from Tiainen to Sapala. Great concentration. That was a good, accurate pass that time. And our score is 27-14.
Yeah, Sapala doing a great job with her hands just to bring that in. It looked like Brown was the defensive back covering. No, sorry, it was King. King was the defensive back covering that time.
So midway through our third period here in Birmingham, the Wolverines get themselves back into this. Love the decals on the front of those Wolverines helmets.
Yeah, that heart.
Yeah. Playing with a lot of heart tonight, all these ladies out there. Great advert for the game. Great advert for the sport in general, as the Wolverines get set to restart. The ball is up and it's a nice kick. And that kick is fielded at the 12-yard line. Surveys the field and it looks like
King again, yeah.
Does. And King gets himself out to the 29-yard line, where the Sharks will look to extend their advantage.
I believe Amy Yarn was the first to the tackle.
So they're going to have to get something moving here. Defense going to be looking for that 3 and out, or perhaps even a turnover, forced fumble, interception. These short quarters make difficult challenges to try and claw back into the game. Only 13 points down now after that score.
Indeed. 13 points down. We've seen how scores can get on the board as quickly as they do.
Sharks putting 2 quick scores up at the latter part of the second quarter.
The pick 6 at the end of the half, but shortly before, as Mulligan goes there and finds a wide open receiver, and it's a good open field tackle, but not until Crystal Molina has picked up enough for a Shark first down.
Yeah, it was Yarn that made the tackle. Just finding Alina on the hitch play there.
So first down Sharks. Nice positive start to their second offensive possession of the third period. These are spread formations, the norm now in all levels of the game in Europe.
Whatever happened to I formation?
I tell you, I formation, pro formation.
You still see it in the NFL, so it's clearly works.
Another pass completed, and this time out to the left. And the tackler swings around but doesn't manage to bring the receiver to the ground. And that's Nuttall, who picks up another Shark first down. And the New York outfit are in business.
Yeah, shaking off that tackler, finding a way forward for the first down.
Just what the Wolverines wouldn't have wanted.
No, and they're starting to make a move down the field. And these Wolverines need to find a way to stop these short passes. It's very much a quarterback getting it out to the receiver and letting the receiver do the work.
And again, though, doing it through the air. Still not confident about running against that defensive line of the Wolverines. So Mulligan and the Shark offense again go to the air. She's acres of time, flicks the ball out again. That's a good open field tackle that time. But that's Fields, recipient of that long touchdown at the end of the first half, who reels that one in.
Nikanda, there was a tackler on that play. We've named her a couple times so far.
Look at the time, that offensive line in pass protection, giving her all sorts of freedom to survey, to make read 1, read 2. Like that was almost down to third read on that play before she managed to flip it out. Must be lovely to have time to make 3 reads, Tom Henley, mustn't it? And a nice inside run that time. In fact, off tackle to the left-hand side goes Wilkerson.
Yeah, just finding 6 inches or so to try and squeeze up sideways. And once she got through that hole, picked up a nice little gain.
Big third down for the Wolverines here. Third and a long 3, maybe even 4 yards.
This defensive line very, very good at plugging up the holes, but so far yet to put any real pressure on Mulligan.
And that's testament to the technique of the offensive line in their pass protection, I think. Because as you've said, from a run-stopping force.
Again, there's a five-man blitz there, no pressure.
Oh, in and out of the hands that time. There's another player down holding a knee.
That looks like 22 Nikanda there.
Good coverage that time.
See on the replay, I think she may have just been falling on. And not in a nice way. You just see it there. Oh, I'm not quite sure.
Good. Immediately grabs the right knee. And as you've said already, as lovely as this surface is,
it's not great for knees and lower leg muscles.
Cleats tend to get stuck.
Very much so.
And there's no give. So we wish all the best once again to the latest Wolverine to receive medical attention. Let's have a look back on Twitter. Malibu_Baybreeze. Kimberly's back on with us. Good to know you're still watching. Way to go, Sharks. Keep that ball in motion. Good luck to our girl Gina Capardi and the whole New York Shark team from your friends in South Jersey. This is Mike Big Dog Martinez. So obviously Big Dog has hijacked Kimberly's Twitter feed there by the looks of things. But good to know that people are watching us from Jersey. Not the Jersey in the Channel Islands.
New Jersey.
South Jersey.
New Jersey, South Jersey, aren't they all the same Jersey?
How to lose friends and alienate people, George.
That's a TV show?
It's a film. Okay, so while we have this break in play, we'll take a couple of minutes away and be back to you after this.
We are the official UK distributors and retailers for Riddell, Rawlings, Wilson Footballs, Nike and Under Armour. This gives us the largest range of products in the UK. We also offer team merchandise. We can supply a full range of clothing, all printed and embroidered in-house. Please feel free to visit our showroom at 8 Hill Lane Industrial Estate, Markfield, Leicester, LE67 9PM.
Welcome back, as the injured Wolverine has managed to leave the field, and all being well, she'll be back with us shortly as well. But it's a big fourth down now. Really, a bigger fourth down for the Wolverines than the Sharks.
Yeah, the Wolverines really need to stop here.
So here goes Mulligan, and she looks over the top, and she's looking for Fields, and that's intercepted! Number 33, I think that is.
Sepala, the earlier touchdown scorer. Oh, I do apologise.
It's number 33.
Too many threes on the field. Pudas with the interception. And they've really needed that there.
But once again, bend but don't break defense. And now let's see if this Wolverine offense can get to within one score.
It's a long way to try and drive upfield, but we have seen them move it. They started around about the halfway mark last drive.
Worth mentioning that this weekend's events also raising funds for Birmingham Children's Hospital, which is a fantastic organisation to try and support, so it's great that that's going on. If you could just go to the Just Giving site and search for PROCLOUD Trophy, you'll be able to contribute to that if you would like to. So
I'm sure any money that you can contribute will be generously received.
Absolutely. The flag is being waved off.
As you say, Matt, great cause.
Absolutely.
The Children's Hospital of Birmingham.
Drove past on my way in, and yeah.
That is Birmingham, UK, not Birmingham, Alabama.
Indeed.
For those stateside, of course.
And a big thank you also to team sponsors, PROCLOUD. PROCLOUD are based in Lichfield, in Staffordshire, here in the UK. The team was formerly sponsored by PROCLOUD, which is actually a creative software company, so they were Creative Software Solutions. And they own PROCLOUD, so thank you for their support for this whole weekend. And if the other two games are anything to go by, it's going to be a fantastic couple of days. Are you here for the next two, George?
I am indeed. Trying to find somewhere to stay for the night, rather than driving home. I've got friends in Birmingham before you start questioning things.
I didn't know whether that was another request.
No, Tom Henley is walking around. He lives 10 minutes away.
He does indeed. So that Wolverine offence goes back to work, and it's it was caught.
It was Chapala, and it was Chapala that time that got that grab.
I lost sight of the ball instant for a moment, and thought the way that Chapala reacted, she hadn't actually caught it, but good pass that time by Tiainen, and Chapala, as you mentioned, picks up a first down. So this is what they need.
Fantastic grab that time.
Good ball that time, only where her receiver could catch it, and Chapala does just that. First down, Wolverines on the march. This time the inside handoff, and Kosinen does pick up good yardage again, and she punches her way through the front of that Sharks defensive line and into the secondary.
And those earlier body punches really now coming into effect as you say, punching through that line. And it sounds like we've got another injury on the field, a Shark this time, although she is sat up.
Yeah, look at that powerful run. Great blocking up front again from that offensive line. So often overlooked to those offensive lines in any American football team.
You know, when you can run like this team can, you can do anything.
So that will be another Helsinki first down, and they will be buoyed by this third quarter.
Momentum very much in their favour.
That was Shuri Elisa who was banged up during that play. She's got herself back to her sideline as Tiainen looks to her left and puts the ball up, and the catch is made. And it is made after a pickup of maybe two.
Yeah, it was Kilpalainen that time.
Kilpalainen does manage to secure positive yardage and actually picks up 3 yards. I don't think you can't ever underestimate the importance of picking up anything positive on first down.
What? 4 yards, 3-4 yards every play, and you keep moving those chains.
So Tiainen proved that she, obviously, majority of the throws have gone to the flats and out to the sideline, but we have seen the odd ball down the seam, which has been successfully completed. And here comes Kosinen again, and she bounces off tacklers and she barrels her way for another first down.
Fantastic blocking that time on the edge, just opening a seam in the middle. Looks a little bit shaken up that time. So hopefully she'll be okay. You just see it here, that left tackle sealing off the edge very, very well for the running back to cut up inside. Nice pickup.
Sandwich between two Shark defenders there. And I think she felt the effects of that.
Yeah, I think so. She's a big, powerful runner to lose. So she is standing up.
Another Shark down
on the back end of the field.
Close to the line of scrimmage. I think the attrition of this, but I think it has been. It's been a very physical encounter from both teams. As Kosinen comes close, and she doesn't look in too bad nick the way she's running down towards us there.
She's taken an initial knock, but she's jogging up and down the sideline. So I think we'll see her return imminently.
Yeah.
And another Shark is up.
That's the old, that's your old coach going, just go and run it off. And it looks like Kosinen has actually done that. So, brings up a first down. That big run from Kosinen as Tiainen sprints her way back to the Wolverine huddle, giving instructions to her compatriots for their next plan of attack. And let's see what they dial up this time. First down, just outside the 30-yard line. Very positive drive, as we've mentioned already. This time the ball is handed off. It's a new running back and stiff arms a player, but that defender, who is Elisa, manages to slide down and make the tackle.
Yeah, really left with nowhere to go. Needed to find a route upfield rather than running down to the sideline.
Bit too lateral, like you mentioned that time. Quite right.
2nd and 11, I think they've marked, so a loss on the down.
And I think not too long left in this Wolverine-dominated third period, but if they could get another score on the board before the end of this period, well, the fourth period is then anybody's. And indeed, the game. So still in this one. And that's in and out of the hands, slightly behind her intended receiver.
And just bowled out.
Sapella again was the intended recipient of that pass. And Tiainen, unfortunately, doesn't once again quite get the zip or the location on that one. Plenty of time again, look. Similar looking down the seam. And to be fair, Sapella could have hung on to that.
Yeah, could.
End of the third quarter.
And that, as you say, drawing to a close, will be the end of the third quarter. Sharks really need to stop these Wolverines on this drive.
But for us to make a game of it, those Wolverines will be wanting to punch this in. And a third quarter absolutely dominated by the Finnish outfit. Once again, physicality, the name of the game.
Score in the third quarter there to make the score 27-14.
27-14, the Sharks ahead of the Wolverines, but the Wolverines winning this second half by a score of 7-0.
We're going to keep this drive alive and pull within one score.
See what that fourth quarter brings us. Tiainen once again, as has been all evening, as you'd expect. Waiting for the officials to give the signal for this fourth quarter to get underway.
Currently the down mark is sat on 1, but it is, of course, third down.
It is indeed.
Although our scoreboard says slightly different, it is 3rd and 12.
3rd and 12 then for Helsinki. Tiainen. 2 receivers to her right, 2 running backs this time. She rolls to her right, which she's been successful at doing most of the time. Oh!
Chapala again, in and out of the hands.
And that was eminently catchable.
Couldn't bring it in.
So 4th down.
That's going to bring up
going for it?
I think you have to. Sapala, 2 bad plays for her really, but we know that she can catch the deep ball if needed.
Much of the success for the Wolverines has come as Tiainen rolls out to her right, and she's actually delivered some very accurate passes.
That ball was on point. There was nothing wrong with the football, maybe a little low, but exactly where a receiver should be able to catch it, and a defensive back can't.
And we've seen the quality of Sapala during the game, and I'm sure that's one that she would like back.
I think you'd be correct there.
So here we go, big 4th down in terms of the game, maybe in terms of the weekend, and here's that draw play again, and Kosinen is back in the game. Can she turn the corner? She can. Going to be close, and she gets the first down, does she? Depending where she's spotted.
Very, very close.
Oh, they spotted it short.
Back to moving the sticks.
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be first down, New York.
A great effort from the runner there. Going straight through the line, cutting across and finding a seam upwards, but
look,
can we see what playing to those black markings? It won't have been far off.
I think if you look where the markers are, obviously they're a couple of yards back from the sideline.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing it from an angle, of course, we have to trust the officials, all right, but great effort, and that could have gone either way.
Here it is again from a slightly different angle. And it does look like now, with Kosinen being the physical runner she is, you'd have almost expected her to put her head down and barrel through there. But anyway, it is first down Sharks. They managed to get the ball back, so now these Wolverines will be looking for another turnover as we're in the 4th quarter. Mulligan drops back, zips that ball over to the right. And that's the difference between the 2 quarterbacks. That velocity that Mulligan puts on the ball, it's on a rope pretty much every time.
Yeah, she really has got that velocity, as you say.
Complete there to Fontenay.
Just that is low-level balls, low-line balls, and finding the receiver.
Big pick up on first down, which makes second and very manageable. 2nd and 2 will be upcoming. Remember, this is the first of a triple header of games from this Transatlantic PROCLOUD Trophy, inaugural PROCLOUD Trophy in 2018. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. kickoff sees the Birmingham Lions take on the Helsinki Wolverines. So just less than 24 hours for the Wolverines to lick their wounds as the ball is dropped, and so is the runner. The runner, after picking that football up, Wilkerson is met and slammed.
Yeah, P-roller of a snap and just mashed into the ground as defensive line came thundering through.
So as I mentioned, the Lions take on the Wolverines at 4 p.m. tomorrow from this very field. See that bad snap again, and in the end, Mulligan just lets Wilkerson pick it up, and then boom. Nowhere to go. So 3rd and 2 after that big pickup on first down. I like Mulligan going to the air on this one, and she does. And she looks to her left, and she overthrows her intended receiver. And that intended receiver is Natal.
That's the first time we've really seen Mulligan under any pressure in the passing game today. But enough pressure just to knock her off target.
I think she felt that as well.
I think she did.
Coming from her backside there.
But then when you've not seen it all game and it comes, it's going to put you off.
So the Wolverines hold strong, and in the first period, the Sharks may well have gone for it here on 4th and 4. But I think they understand the way this game has swung currently, and that Wolverines might be slightly in the ascendancy, so they're going to try and pin.
Looks like these Wolverines might be packing the heat here.
Looking to maybe try and block this one. They do bring, but the kick is up and away, and it's another high hanging kick, which takes a shark bounce. This time it will roll and roll and roll down close to the 30 at the 32-yard line, where the Wolverines will take over.
Certainly time enough for these Wolverines to get back into the game.
So, Wolverines Lions tomorrow 4 p.m. here at Birmingham University. Then on Sunday, the inaugural PROCLOUD Trophy. I'm struggling saying PROCLOUD. PROCLOUD Trophy reaches its finale when the New York Sharks take on the Birmingham Lions, and that's a 2 p.m. kickoff once again here from Birmingham University. So let's see whether or not the Wolverines can close the gap and give themselves a chance, as we are coming up to midway through the 4th period here at the University of Birmingham. Tynan with that draw again, and that looks to be Kosinen. Kosinen once again, a positive play, but only maybe 4 yards, but better than nothing.
Still picks up a gain of around 4 though.
4 yards is 4 yards. Just got to find a way to keep the ball moving downfield.
Body blow, body blow, body blow. And
Haymaker.
Hopefully you will then spring one. New York Sharks defense staying strong.
Also, we've seen a deep pass from Tienen. We've not really seen anything to think that she might be able to throw it consistently at 30-40 yards, and that makes it difficult trying to get back into a game.
I think if she does go downfield, she's relying on the height of Sepala to reel her in. But here comes Kosinen again. That workhorse bounces around the right-hand side, and she skittles shark after shark, crosses midfield, and the Wolverines are in business again.
Like Melina was the tackler there.
Deceptive speed, Kosinen.
Yeah, reminds me of a former teammate that had a very deceptive slow spin.
Mr. Cy Holmes.
Cy Holmes, yeah, but just looking there, and very good read, good at reading the blocks there and just finding the seams, and a wonderful block actually by the receivers there.
Nice low centre of gravity, which allows her to shift that weight and change direction very quickly.
Makes it difficult to be brought down as well.
And she gets the call again up the middle, and she's got another big gap, and she remains on her feet, hurdles over a Shark defender and picks up another first down at the 20-yard line. Is this Shark defence tiring?
I think so. You have to wonder whether this offence is going to tire as well, running the ball downfield.
The Sharks call a timeout to try and stem this tide. These Wolverines on the charge. Big shout out and big thanks to all the sponsors this afternoon, particularly today's game sponsor, Enterprise Rent-A-Car. If you've not yet secured a graduate job, it's not too late to send that CV to Julia.Speed and look at that starting salary. George's eyes light up every time.
As you said, that is £19,000 more than I'm earning a year.
So Julia.Speed at EHI.com to fast-track your way to an exciting new career for the 2018-19.
I'd imagine Enterprise aren't a bad company to be working for
absolutely.
either, if the American hospitality's come across the pond.
So thank you to Enterprise for sponsoring today's game between the Wolverines and the Sharks. We're seeing if the Wolverines can make a journey to the end zone on this drive in order to keep this one exciting. And so far,
this drive sponsored by Enterprise.
Very nice. Tried to get the journey in there as well, but again, mine it just falls on no recognition. But never mind. 1st and 10 on the Shark 17-yard line. Tiainen, no reason to think that Kusinen isn't going to be getting this again, but she goes to the air and she has her receiver, and the receiver makes the first defender miss.
It's Keongas there that was the receiver. Short pickup.
Doesn't matter, like we've said, short pickup, but a pickup nevertheless, a positive pickup. Nice throw again. Still, you can see the difference, a little bit lofted compared to the Mulligan darts. But nevertheless, positive yardage, 2nd and 6 upcoming for the Wolverines. Looking very, very hopeful on this drive to try and see if they can find their way in. Rolls left this time, and good pass breakup.
Yeah, well timed by the defensive back, coming in there, crashing down on the receiver just to force that ball loose.
Intended receiver Kiel Palainen.
Looked like it was King on that defensive breakup.
So big 3rd down. They'll definitely go 3rd and 4th down here regardless, obviously with the time left and the score being as it is, and how successful they've actually been. Wouldn't be surprised to see them feed Kusinen twice more. But we will see what the offensive coordinator for the Wolverines dials up here. 3rd and 6 upcoming. This time Kusinen does get the ball off left tackle and she bounces outside. That's a great open field tackle by not one but 2 Sharks, and the first Shark there was Nandi Brown.
And that's exactly what the defense needed.
Great form tackle, and not only hit high but then slid down and held on. Kusinen tried to step out but just didn't have the strength as Brown managed to cling on for dear life.
You have to have some reach to try and get around Kusinen on the top half. A big, strong, powerful runner, as we've already mentioned.
Good form tackle there. And just manages to secure that one leg until a teammate helps her out. So 4th and 5. 4th and 5. This could be it really, and it's a draw play, and Kusinen is stopped dead. In fact, stopped more than dead, stopped for negative yardage, and the Sharks take over once again. And you have to feel that as much of a fight as the Wolverines have put up in the second half, that could be that.
Yeah, I think they just went to that play too many times, and I think the Sharks were very much anticipating that could be an option at 4th and 5.
So as time begins winding down in this one with a 13-point deficit for the Wolverines, 13-point advantage for the Sharks, depending on which sideline you are currently sitting. Need to try and recognise some people who have been able to put this broadcast on today and indeed put the tournament on, as Mulligan looks to her right and she completes again on 1st down, and the receiver makes 2 tacklers miss, gets past the 1st down, you've got markers, and picks up close to 18 yards.
Big pickup for them on that first play of the drive, and they'll be looking to eat this clock and eat this field up.
So 6 minutes left in this one.
And the Sharks will look to milk this clock for all they can get out of it.
Big thanks to all today's sponsors, to all the guys here at Birmingham University, to Andrew Bowen and head coach Jamie Kilby. We've mentioned Enterprise Rent-A-Car for sponsoring today's game. Team sponsors ProCloud for sponsoring the whole tournament and enabling it to be put on, as the Ball is handed off to the left-hand side, and big runner again for the Sharks. Number 20, Metsola.
Strong run that time. It's going to bring up around about 2nd and 4.
Football.
2nd and 3.
Football America. Obviously partner vendors. And obviously this whole weekend is a charity event trying to raise funds for Birmingham Children's Hospital. Go to the Just Giving site and search for PROCLOUD Trophy. You'll be able to donate there. So that's incredibly worthy cause.
Yeah, more than just cause.
Get giving if you can. As we see 2nd and 3 from Mulligan and the Sharks, and she zips the ball out again, and ball was caught, and Gina Capardi, the recipient, knee went down as she caught that ball, but
perhaps not spotted.
So here we go, first down. Watch this, here we go. The knee definitely down. Nevertheless, the chains are moving, as are the Sharks. We, as ever, want to thank our fantastic production crew here at Onside. Alex and Matt on the cameras, and Steve and Tom in the production trailer.
And Tom.
Tom Henley, guest appearance on the scoreboard, which is why the down and distance hasn't been accurate so much, very much like he is when he's playing. Oh, and this time, Metsola met immediately by that front of the Wolverines.
Janina Lehen getting in there, make sure that there wasn't any gain.
So 27-14. Positive impressions from this one, George?
I think it's been a fantastic start to the tournament so far, and the first game's not over yet. We could see anything happen. I think if the football these two teams have shown so far continues throughout this tournament, it will be, well, certainly make for some great viewing.
Prior to this drive, the Sharks seem to have been a little deflated, but obviously having made that 4th down. Oh my word! That is that is how to tackle, and fair play to Gina Capardi for hanging on to that one.
Yeah, it was Jan, the tackler, really dropping the thunder.
Here we go, look at this. Ball out from Mulligan, great concentration, but tees her up, and good night, Vienna.
Yeah, in the words of Miley Cyrus, came in like a wrecking ball.
So that brings up 3rd and 11. And that will buoy the Wolverine defence.
And the Wolverines
it will leave Capardi's ears ringing. Wolverines take time out at this stage.
They're going to need it at least twice.
Remember, 2 more games to come in this tournament this weekend. First one tomorrow, 4 p.m. kickoff. The Lions take on the Wolverines. Then we wrap things up at 2 p.m. on Sunday when the Sharks take on the home Lions. Also on Sunday, as you've mentioned, the Division 2, men's Division 2
North and South.
North and South finals take place.
Aberdeen Roughnecks and Chester Romans in the north. I'm not. Do you know what? I'm not quite sure on the south. I follow the north more because we're based in the north, to be honest. But it is Hertfordshire Cheetahs and Dreadnoughts. Thank you, Tom, for sorting that one out. Hearts Cheetahs, of course, playing their junior squad in the plate final last year. So last week.
Last week, indeed. And then the culmination of the Brit Ball season next weekend in Leeds on Saturday. The Premier Brit Bowl 2018 final between the Tamworth Phoenix and the London Warriors. The Tamworth Phoenix returning to the Brit Bowl after their initial success last year, and that ball is thrown looking outside, looking for
the pass ball's incomplete.
I think that's looking for Elisa, is it? Is that number? Oh no, it's Capardi again. Looking for Capardi, but falls out incomplete. So yes, Brit Ball final.
Of course, the Division 1 final
on the Sunday.
Leicester Falcons facing off against the Kent Exiles, who have both gained Premiership promotion. So they will be both playing Prem football next season.
Both those games next weekend will be brought to you by us here at Onside Productions, as will the rest of the weekend's action here from Birmingham. So 4th down, and the Sharks punting once again, not taking any chances with this Wolverine attack. Let's see whether or not this one is fielded or whether the ball goes high in the night sky, and it does go high, and it looks like she's going to attempt to field this one. It takes 1 bounce, and then she gets out of the way quite sensibly, it must be said. So the Wolverines will have 1 more attempt.
Hertfordshire Cheetahs, Portsmouth Dreadnoughts. I read that this morning as well. It's been a long, long day.
There's a flag which we just need to watch for this. Conversation going on between our refereeing crew. Big thanks to Tim Ockenden and his crew for this evening's game. Personal foul against the return team, against the Wolverines. So that's going to be half the distance to the goal, I believe, and the 1st down, which will back them right up. Indeed, inside their 15, in fact, at the 11-yard line, they'll start this latest series. Worth noting this weekend that we've mentioned the head coach, Tia Hopkins, for the Sharks. Only just recently taken over that role. Head coach Fabienne Baez has not been able to travel with the team at short notice. We wish him all the best with what's going on at home, but Coach Hopkins doing a stellar job so far this evening. I'm very much enjoying her trip to the UK, as she told me earlier on. So 1st down. Tianen looks to her left and completes the pass, and it's that girl once again, and she's round the left end, and she's still on her feet down the sideline. Has she got the pace to get to the end zone? Unfortunately not, but that is a 70, 80-yard pickup on 1st down.
And she looks absolutely gassed.
But Sepala once again. Sepala impersonating an impala, running down that sideline. Getting caught in good pursuit by the Shark defender.
Really showing her athleticism that time.
And here we go, looking to try and capitalise. No huddle from the Wolverines. Simple pass out to the flats again. Sepala outruns the first. Oh, that's a great block.
Monster hit.
And Tianen's looking again and looking.
Sepala again. I don't know whether. Oh,
no,
it
it's
wasn't
not.
Sepala. It's 21 that time. That's Mutikainen that time. I'm not sure if they've ruled
incomplete. Ruled incomplete, so it remains 2nd down. No huddle once again, trying to keep these Sharks off balance. Still, most of them will be getting their breath back after that big gain. Here comes the blitz. Tianen puts the ball over the middle, in and out of their hands. And that could have been another one for Keon Gas, but unable to reel that one in. A perfect pass that time.
Yeah, and that one really unacceptable. That was the best throw that Tianen has thrown all game. Right in stride and just not getting the hands in the right spot. Grasping too soon, and really an easy touchdown given up.
Keon Gas under no pressure had beaten that defender, and you can see again, George, as you mentioned, those safeties, well, there aren't any. They're all up front trying to put the pressure on, and Tianen again has got a chance, and this time it's picked in the end zone, and that will be that.
Looks like that Lady King again. There are a number of times she's had a great game of football.
How the Wolverines will rue that chance from Keon Gas the play before. And I'll be honest, this whole 2nd half, the Wolverine offense has moved the ball very effectively down the field and then just come up short on 3 occasions now.
Yeah, they were slow in that 1st half, but if they carry on like this against the Lions, or come out starting like this against the Lions in their upcoming fixture, that will make for an interesting game. We know the Lions are good all round. But
and there's the 2-minute warning indicated by head referee Tim Ockenden. And what a 2 minutes it could have been had Helsinki managed to find the end zone on that drive. But as things stand now, you'd expect the Sharks just to try and run this clock down. Helsinki and the Sharks both with 2 timeouts. The Sharks will be leaving their timeouts on the board. Helsinki obviously will be trying to get rid of those and maybe just salvage a little bit of pride if they can get the ball back. And there's that pass out again, and it's a good take and breaks the first tackle and shepherded out of bounds is Nuttall. And Nuttall, another first down. Will the Wolverines use a timeout? No. So first and 10, New York. And the unfortunate thing for the Wolverines, as well as they've played here tonight, the backs are going to be against the wall to recover and to be on top form against the Lions tomorrow, who are coming into this one fresh and having sat and watched what the Wolverines are doing tonight.
And of course not having the travel that's been involved for these two teams on the field.
As this time the ball is handed off to the right-hand side.
Nowhere to go.
And that's Wilkerson once again. And this time, sounds like timeout may be called.
Yeah, it was Lena there that time with the tackle.
Timeout Wolverines indeed. 2nd and 10. Really unfortunately, though, it appears the Wolverines will be going through the motions. And there's a lot of positives they can take, particularly the running of Kusinen.
Yeah, very much so. The offensive line in the running game as well have opened up some massive holes. I think the Sharks will have to look very quickly for Sunday's fixture to shut that up with the impending Ruth Matter of the Lions, the running back of choice for them. And if they can't shut down that running game of Ruth Matter, the Lions will run all over them.
But actually, what we have seen tonight, as you've said, this offensive line for the Sharks are a big bunch of people. And basically, they have not been able to have much success against that defensive front.
No, but you look at that defensive front, it's not overly big if you compare them to the offensive line, but very, very good at plugging the holes. Having said that, they've not got a lot of pressure on Mulligan tonight. I think they've had perhaps one quarterback pressure all game.
Indeed. Whoa, high snap this time. Well taken by Mulligan, but then there's that defensive front to meet Wilkerson in the backfield.
Straight through, as she was met like that earlier on. She is on that time.
Elisa Lene.
And the Wolverines take another timeout.
A big loss, and the Wolverines will take their final timeout of the game. 3rd and 13. They'll be hoping that Mulligan will go to the air and the pass will fall incomplete. But if I'm the Sharks, regardless of how much territory I might lose, I'm handing this one off.
I think you hand it off and punt it away. Play it safe.
Absolute no-brainer for me. See how aggressive the Sharks want to be. Or are they playing this in the spirit that the game has been played in all night, actually? A very decent spirit all around. Some very ferocious hitting, but very legal.
Yeah, a lot of the big hits really coming from that Finnish team. Really showing the might of Finland.
So here we go then, 3rd and 13 for Mulligan and the Sharks. Remember, Mulligan been playing now for 16 seasons with the Sharks. She's been captain for 13 of them. They're getting confused, and she does go to the air, and that one is incomplete. So a surprise, really, showing some aggression, which means the Wolverines will get the ball once again. And you have to say, even though they will lose this one, if they can get anything positive from this last drive, then they're going to be buoyed going into the final game of the weekend tomorrow.
Yeah, very much so. Just nice to see both teams get some scoring, and it's been a good night of football as well. It's been a great way to start the tournament. No blowout, good offense, good defense, and just good football all round.
Good quality, real good quality, and a great advert for the women's game. And all being well, something that can grow, as it's a high snap this time, and does well does Nuttall to get the ball away. Another Shark bounce, which will pin the Wolverines back once again, but they'll pick it up just inside their 30-yard line. Time for Tiainen and Kusinen to go back to work.
The Wolverines will have the football back, 1st and 10.
What a great time for the women's game, and these two teams really been a great advert. And of course, one of the Lions, recently the news has been announced that she will be joining the Buffalo Bills as an intern coach for the year, Phoebe Schechter. That was announced yesterday, I believe. What a great honour for her to be coaching in the NFL.
Fantastic achievement, and for a young lady who's done so much for the game over here as well.
And a ninja warrior.
And a ninja warrior,
and
indeed.
A kabaddi expert.
Indeed.
I think she rides horses as well. So
her talents know no bounds. As the ball is flipped out to the left there, looking for Kilpainen. Unfortunately falls incomplete. The only good thing about that is the clock stops and the Wolverines get another chance to reset. So 2nd and 10 upcoming. As this game draws to a close, all being well, we'll be able to catch up with some of the key personnel.
First time we've really seen a triple formation from these Wolverines.
As Tiainen drops back, rolls to right again, and she completes the ball once again, but only for a minimal pickup. Picking up maybe 3 yards, maybe only 2 yards in fact.
I don't know about you, and I know it's a little off topic, but this official in the bottom left corner with the long locks, I'm a little bit jealous.
I'm a long way removed from being jealous about that sort of thing, as the ball is completed to Sapala.
Another grab from
Pass complete to Sapala.
It's going to be 4th down though, unfortunately.
Again, the clock is going to run.
She's had a really good game. I think she's certainly been one big positive for the Wolverines today.
Game on the line.
So 4th down, maybe the last chance hurrah, and the ball is out to Kuusinen, and Kuusinen makes a great effort, running over 2 defenders, and she's going to be close to, and I think they may well have given her that 1st down.
Yeah, she managed to get out of bounds as well. And it will be an injury timeout to boot. There is a shark down.
It looks like, yeah, Melissa Blaze, it does look like he's down. So while this injury is seen to, we will take a quick break.
We are the official UK distributors and retailers for Riddell, Rawlings, Wilson Footballs, Nike and Under Armour. This gives us the largest range of products in the UK. We also offer team merchandise. We can supply a full range of clothing, all printed and embroidered in-house. Please feel free to visit our showroom at 8 Hill Lane Industrial Estate, Markfield, Leicester, LE67 9PM.
The Blaze still being attended to on this near sideline, but as I mentioned, all being well after the game, join us for our post-game show where we'll hopefully catch up with Coach Hopkins and maybe a couple of the key personnel this afternoon or this evening who have made themselves known to this Wolverine defence. Quarter to 10 here in the West Midlands, Birmingham, England. Any of you who are watching overseas, thank you for tuning in. We hope you've enjoyed the coverage so far and the coverage from Onside Productions this evening, which will continue throughout the weekend. Your role may well be changing tomorrow, George, on the play-by-play tomorrow.
We'll see what happens.
Easy come, easy go.
Lucky dip. What are you doing tomorrow? Departing? Going to the steakhouse?
Unfortunately, I say unfortunately, I hope my wife isn't watching this. It's my wife's 40th birthday, so we've got some family events this weekend, and
oh dear.
As soon as I'm up in Leeds all weekend next weekend, when you get to my sort of age and responsibility,
you just can't quite hack the pace anymore.
You have to
Not be long before you see you walking around in a Zimmer frame, no doubt.
Well, I'm hoping if I get to that age, you'll push me in a wheelchair rather than me use a Zimmer.
Depends if it's uphill or not.
Well, if you get in the gym a little more, I'm sure you'll be able to handle it. Although, I don't know that you've ever been in a gym in your life.
I have a gym membership.
Do you?
I do, as of about 3 weeks ago.
Fantastic.
I've been... Actually, I was going to say I've been twice. I haven't.
In 3 weeks?
I haven't. I've been going 3 times a week. So
you've been going 3 times a week?
3 times a week.
Fantastic.
3 times a week. But still...
Bulking up then?
No. I'm just going for the running. Cardio.
Cardio, is that right? Okay.
I don't do enough.
You don't get enough of that in your line of work at the moment?
No. Well, I'm doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs.
And still not earning as much as that starting wage for Enterprise.
I think I'm actually paying to work at the moment. Believe it or not, Tesco's and other supermarkets don't accept peanut shells.
Do they not?
Yeah. Not even full peanuts, it's peanut shells.
Oh.
So Enterprise, Julia, you might be getting an email from me.
Big thanks again to Enterprise for sponsoring today's game. If you still haven't secured a graduate job as of yet, then get on the email. Send your CV.
I've just noticed this. Julia's Speed. What a fantastic one for Enterprise. Obviously, we don't condone speeding in any way, but what a great name to have.
If you're talking about the motoring industry, Speed is a pretty appropriate name indeed. That starting salary of £20,000, looking pretty good to George right now. Oh, George, it says West Midlands.
Yeah, don't mind. I'll travel or move.
Julia, I would genuinely expect, if I were you, an email coming from George.Lees.
It's actually George Lees, all one word.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
As long as Julia doesn't get you confused with all the other George Lees that are out there, that's fine.
There's loads. There is Professor George Lees.
Yes.
I can't remember where he's from. I googled him. You know, when you sit there and just Google yourself.
This is probably why you're not earning that much money at the minute, if you're spending your time Googling.
It could be. It may also be the fact that I, whilst treating a ram of the sheep variety.
I don't know. I want to know what you were treating a ram to.
I accidentally stuck a needle in my hand. It was a bit silly, but part and parcel. Part and parcel.
So how does that lead you to then Google your own name?
Oh, I don't know. I was just explaining why I didn't have a lot of money. Do you never sit there at school and Google your own name? Just see what happens?
No, because genuinely, when I'm at school, I'm working and educating the nation's youth.
Well, yeah, I was one of them.
You were.
Look what happened.
But that's the difference. You're a good advert for the kind of people who don't listen to me.
I don't know.
The people that do listen to me go on to take up medical careers at Oxford.
Can't say any of my schoolmates have gone. Actually, I do know one, to be fair. I do know one.
Nevertheless, we digress. Long break here in the dying embers of this game, and it would appear that there's a conversation going on. And I think with the amount of time left and the fact that the Wolverines have another game tomorrow, and the fact that this one I think is out of the grasp of the Wolverines, it appears there's conversations going on between Wayne Hill and both the Sharks and the Wolverines.
And the officials,
officials as well. Just before 10 o'clock here in Birmingham, this one may well be called. And
we are deep into the 2-minute warning now at this point as well. So.
A sad end really to this fantastic exhibition of women's football this evening. And as Tim Ockenden is handed the football, I do believe we are going to see that ball hoisted high into the Birmingham night sky. And due to that injury, the game is indeed called. So our final score here, with the score of the Helsinki Wolverines 14 and the New York Sharks 27, we congratulate the outfits from the east coast of the United States who run out victors in this inaugural game of the inaugural Transatlantic PROCLOUD 2018. Join us. Oh, sorry.
No, it's just all right. You carry on. I do apologise, Matt, for interrupting.
Join us shortly for our post-game show, where we'll hopefully revisit some of the key plays from tonight's action and bring you interviews with hopefully the head coach and others from tonight's exhibition. Join us shortly. So welcome back to our post-game show here in Birmingham. We got a final scoreline of the New York Sharks 27 and the Helsinki Wolverines 14. Great game, George.
It was a little bit of an anticlimax at the end there, but I think a great display of football throughout.
So if we recap proceedings this evening, we got off to a flyer, really. The Sharks came out and put some early points on the board, and then the Wolverines responded.
Yeah, their first drive, and then of course the Wolverines' second drive, they got the score on the board as well. And then after that, the Sharks really got moving. Although not putting any scores up in the second half, they managed to put up 20 points in the second quarter.
Absolutely, and in the first period it was 7 apiece, and then like you say, they exploded, and at one point 14-7 down, we kind of hoped that Helsinki might be able to bring it back, but that pick six was a real difference at the end of the first.
Did, and it was a pick six on the goal line after a dropped pass by Kiangas in the end zone as well. So, but that's part and parcel of the game.
But I think it's been a great advert for the sport, and I think the Birmingham Lions will be licking their lips now, having seen the action, having seen what they're up against. I know Coach Kilby will be up late tonight, I would have thought, game planning for the way that they're going to approach this one tomorrow. And I think the whole tournament so far is set up really nicely.
Yeah, I think so. And it's a close game as well. Like the scoreline, you know, you're only 13 points adrift there. It's only 2 scores. It so easily could have gone the other way tonight, though. One of those scores for the Sharks, of course, a pick six. And then, of course, those Wolverines not quite getting that touchdown pass.
It makes you wonder, it kind of... If you talk to the coaches, and that's our PA kicking in again, if you talk to the coaches post-game, the Sharks actually lost that second half 7-0. This is our PA, which is very different. It was in pre-game as well. But anyway, the Sharks lost that second half 7-0. Now, when we speak to Coach Hopkins, hopefully in a little bit, will she say, well, with the big half-time lead, we took our foot off the gas a little bit, or...
I don't think that's fair to the Wolverines. The Wolverines really came out hard. The first kickoff, we had that long injury. Perhaps momentum just slowed. And the Wolverines came out better than the Sharks did.
Absolutely.
But I think Wolverines really stepped up into another gear, I think is probably the better way to put it.
Range
and the Sharks, you know, they showed some good defense to only allow 7 points.
And I think, in answer to my own question a little bit, I don't think the Sharks did take the foot off the gas by the fact that on that last drive, on 3rd and long, they went for it. They went for the pass rather than securing the ball.
Yeah. And Mulligan just proving that she can throw the ball in tough situations and just showing that she's a good quarterback all round.
So highlights of the game, really. If we start with the home team, Helsinki Wolverines, who were the home team this evening. Obviously, the MVP for the evening, that's exactly what I was going to say. So Kuusinen, I think, was fundamental.
Yeah,
excellent running, great job.
And she had a great game. I know they didn't quite win the game, but she ran all over the Sharks and really was a statue of what they could be.
We'll just hang fire for a couple of minutes while the presentations take place.
Great job, Teddy. And now we come on to the MVP from the Sharks, as voted for by the Wolverines. Again, great job. She was around the field all day, got the decisive pick to seal the game. Number 5, Jennifer King. So that's the formalities done with. We want to thank you guys again for attending the game. Congratulations to the Sharks, commiserations to the Wolverines. Excellent game being played here today. Really appreciate you guys being here for the first ever PROCLOUD trophy. And we'll be back again tomorrow with Helsinki Wolverines taking on the host of the PROCLOUD trophy, the Birmingham Lions. Look forward to seeing you all again. Kickoff is at 4 o'clock. Massive thanks again to Enterprise Rent-A-Car, represented today by Julia Speed and Emma Murray. All right, folks, safe journey home. Wish you all the best. See you again tomorrow.
Thanks there to our stadium announcer for the evening, Jay Alexander. Good to have him on board, even if he has been a bit loud in my ear all night, but there you go. So nice, those the MVP awards, obviously voted by the opposite team. We mentioned about Kuusinen to begin with, and she was the class act on that Wolverines
very
outfit.
Much so. And King on the defensive side of things as well for the Sharks. Played a phenomenal game, broke up a few passes, and of course she got that interception on the very last Wolverines drive as well. So key player there for the Sharks.
And we mentioned in commentary as well, almost a talisman for the Sharks. Karen Mulligan, 40-year-old, playing 16 years, 13 years as captain for the Sharks, and a nice way. And they'll want to win that very last game so that they can go into their new branding with an unblemished record.
Yeah, very much so. But it's going to be a tough game against the Lions Sunday. Perhaps a day's rest is going to do them a world of good. Of course, the Lions playing tomorrow against these Wolverines, so they'll be coming in injured. But all three squads, I think it's fair to say, have come across with decent-sized squads.
Would you agree with the MVPs? Anybody else you'd like to give a mention to from what you've seen? Obviously, I've already gone with Mulligan, and she seems to just lead that offense, understandably so.
Certainly the Wolverines, was the right choice. Maybe Shapala had a great game as well. I don't think you can take away from her efforts. The Sharks, it's tough because they had a great game all round. No massive standouts on offense as such, although this score, they got 3 scores. But I think King, we called her a few times. She got a few great defensive plays in. I think that was the right call for the Sharks.
And highlight plays? Highlight play for me, being an offensive man anyway, was the long pass from Mulligan to Fields.
Yeah, that grab from Shapala, nearly managing to run it in, but just running out of gas. But for me, it's got to be the booms.
Yeah.
The big hits, particularly from those Helsinki Wolverines.
Absolutely.
It's got to be the big hits.
Absolutely. Well, I think all in all, football was definitely the winner tonight, and a great advert, as we mentioned in commentary, for the women's game, and also a great testament to all the people that have managed to put this spectacle on tonight and this weekend. Mentioned in commentary about Andy Bone and about Coach Kilby for the Lions. Obviously, all the support that's been given from the guys coming down here, spectators, and just not to forget that this weekend is all about raising money for the Birmingham Children's Hospital. So if you want to get involved and you want to try and just add your little bit to the pot, go to their Just Giving page, search for PROCLOUD Trophy, and you'll be able to donate there. But as we mentioned, a fantastic cause and a great event all weekend to actually try and help.
And a local course to these Lions as well. And I think it's a good one to get.
Absolutely. So I think we can bring in the victorious coach. Coach Hopkins, congratulations. So, victorious, give me your thoughts to begin with about the way your team started, particularly the first quarter.
To be truthful, I think we started a little slow. But, like any football game, you have to get out there, kind of see who you're dealing with, because film tells one story, but then when you get here in person, it tells another story. So I think we spent a little bit of time kind of sizing up our opponents, figuring out what's going to work, what's not going to work. And, we just held it together, weathered the storm, pulled it off.
Initially, it appeared 7-all. We mentioned in commentary it could have turned into a bit of a shootout. But defense has really, really sort of stepped up, and particularly your run game seemed to be stifled a little bit by that defensive front from the Wolverines.
Yeah, it was. I think we were a little taken aback by it. To be honest, typically our run game is pretty strong. So hats off to them for, kind of taking us out of being able to do that. But, that's what coaching staffs have to do. We plan, and then we have to adjust based on what we see once we get here.
Talk about Mulligan, because she obviously, if the run game's not working, she obviously pulls the strings, and the velocity she puts on the ball and the accuracy as well, it really carried you through, particularly in that first half.
Yes, she's a fantastic veteran. We rely on her heavily a lot, to manage the game, manage the players in situations where we really need to rally them together and make plays, and today we made the plays that we needed to make.
So second half, if we're going to put a negative slant on it, you were shut out, 7-0. Being a former coach, you kind of never want to say, no, we didn't take a foot off the gas. Wolverines just stepped that much up?
I think it was a combination of us having to substitute some personnel. We had some players go down. And honestly, fatigue, right? It's a long trip over, so, can't take that out of it. Obviously, we're in shape. We've been working out, but you just can't take away the fact that there's a long trip, and the ladies just kind of took them a little bit to get their legs under them, but at some point I think we just got winded.
mentioned to me pre-game about your offensive line being your babies almost, and your pride and joy. Did a great job, pass protection particularly.
Yeah, I mean, we had to, right? You know, when the run game isn't working, your offensive line takes a bit of a hit to their pride, right? So we just pick them up. We say, listen, you know, we need you guys to keep our quarterback up so she can make great decisions, and they did a fantastic job of doing that today.
Finally, feel free if you want to talk. You know I do, but feel free. Finally, you've got a day of rest now. Recuperation, hopefully not too serious injuries you've sustained.
Well, I think one of our players had a shoulder pop out, so we're going to get her to some medical attention. But other than that, I think we'll be okay.
And then the plan for the Lions on Sunday, you're going to come down and scout them tomorrow?
Yes, we will be here for all 4 quarters of that game.
Well, once again, thank you ever so much. Congratulations on the victory. It's been fantastic to watch 2 teams go head-to-head like that, and some great players out there on display.
Thank you.
Best of luck for Sunday. Thank you. So I think, all in all, a very pleased coach. Like she said, the injuries, I think, sustained made them adjust to what they were doing in the second half, which things do. But all in all, I think they're going to go away happy tonight.
Yeah, very much so. A win's a win. As she said there, it's a good long trip. I think it's a 5.5 hour flight from New York.
Yeah.
And then you've got to get from your airport to where you're going to be. And this, that, and another. I know they came in earlier in the week, but it still takes a little time to adjust. And of course, they're not just playing one game; they're playing 2 games this weekend.
Absolutely.
So they have to be aware of the fatigue that the players have got and the injuries, the knocks that they've taken. But no, overall, I think she's very pleased. They're going to have to find a way to deal with the Lions running game.
Sure.
Of course, Ruth Matter, a different runner altogether, but a very talented runner nonetheless. So it'll be interesting to see what they come out with on Sunday.
Sounded disappointed about the running game not working, but like you say, when you've got somebody to fall back on like Mulligan with the arm and the accuracy and the experience, then obviously they've been able to cope with that lack of running game tonight.
Yeah, she's had a positive read on the game. She knew where the ball needed to be. She got it there on time, and the receivers did the rest.
So, basically speaking then, as you've mentioned, to play a game on a Friday night and then on a Sunday is a big ask. How do the Wolverines pick themselves up to play tomorrow night against a fresh Lions outfit?
Yeah, that's really tough. Early night, well, I say early night, well, must be on
10 o'clock now
10,
at least, yeah.
You know, it's a later game, so it's not too bad. But it's the recovery. You got to make sure you stretch out now. You got to make sure you do your cool downs properly now. Everything has to be about recovering now. It can't be in a few hours. It can't be in the morning. You've got to cool down properly. You've got to get that body right. They'll get up in the morning, no doubt, and they'll have a steady start. And they'll get down here. They'll get to the pitch, but I'm sure they'll come out fighting fit. And
as Coach Hopkins alluded to, the Sharks picked up some injuries, but the Wolverines had their fair share of knocks on the day as well.
Yeah, and that's the issue with these tournaments. And as we discussed during commentary, the insurance policy was why they ended up with these 11-minute quarters. And actually, I think it's quite a nice timed quarter. There were a lot of injuries, and you're going to be playing a second game as well. Your muscles aren't quite where they need to be. You're looking probably more towards injuries in the sprain regions rather than breaking. Bones. Touch wood, that doesn't happen. But it's just all about getting prepped and getting warm, keeping warm once you are warm as well. So.
Regardless of the outcome tonight, as we've mentioned numerous times, I think the advert for women's football, not only in this country, because we've not yet seen that, but the way it's been organised, but equally the competitiveness against between Helsinki and New York just show that the women's football is definitely on the up, and it's a great game to watch.
Yeah, very much so. And these teams will put some men's teams to shame, no doubt. And these girls, these women, will compete with those men every day of the week.
So that's part 1 of our 3-game escapade into the realms of this PROCLOUD trophy, done and dusted. The Helsinki Wolverines hosted the New York Sharks and came out on the end of a worrying 27-14 defeat. Worrying in that they have to play again tomorrow in the second fixture against the fresh Birmingham Lions. That's a 4 p.m. kickoff here in Birmingham tomorrow. We then finish up on Sunday at 2 p.m. where the Lions will play their second game in 2 days against the slightly more rested Sharks from tonight. Whatever happens, it's going to be a fantastic couple of days of football, coupled with Division 2 finals games on Sunday and then Brit Bowl next weekend. So thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. My thanks over to George.
Thank you.
And thanks to the guys behind the camera and in the booth. It just remains for us to say Have a fantastic evening and join us tomorrow for round 2 of this ProCloud Transatlantic Trophy 2018. Good night.